You're listening to a Galactic Network podcast.
The Podcast of Terror is a show with adult themes, run by adults, for adults. Please do not have your children listen to this show. It might be beneficial to them in the long run, but please wait until they are older. This is one of those things. It's like when you laugh when you're playing bingo and 069 comes up and you have a chuckle and your kitty says, Mommy, why are you laughing at 069? And the mommy says, when you're older. It's one of those kinds of things. Mommy, can I listen to Podcast of Terror? Sure. When you're older. This is a show with adult themes and some childish behavior. A lot of dick jokes. So please. If you want to avoid the swearing, if you want to avoid spoilers for your favorite horror movies, and if you want to avoid really, really lame, petty dick jokes, do not listen to this show. It is not for you.
Corey, how often do you wear a shirt?
Not as often as you would think.
Yeah, it's always nice to cover up your nipples, and maybe your neighbors are complaining because they're hairy. I know you wear shirts when we do these shows. That's about it, from what I understand.
It's more that I just give off a glare that blinds drivers by.
It is hot in California, so I assume that you sweat. There's a slight sheen to you, and the California sun just...
I don't even sheen. I Estevez.
That is... If you do not want to Estevez in public... We have two places in which you can go. We got 2 coupon codes to make your life a little cheaper. You can go visit frequent guest and friend of the show, Matt Vincent, his website, thehate.com. That's the HVIII.com. Use the coupon code HBG15 for 15% off your order. Maybe you hate him. I don't know. He's kind of a likable guy. But if you hate him and you want to go spend your money somewhere else, we got this other place. Go to statusfearmerch.com. Another sponsor of the show, friend of the show. He does all our artwork. He's a really nice guy. He does all the art for my band, except for the stuff that Corey's wife draws. Head over to statusfearmerch.com. Use the coupon code TERROR. Get you a little nice discount there. Welcome to episode 104 of the Podcast of Terror, production of the Galactic Network. I'm your host, Matt Stein. With me, as always, is Corey Lonely Face Scott. I don't know.
Aw. Hurtful.
But true.
Is his face actually lonely because there's no other faces around, or is it a lonely-looking face?
Well, he's living the bachelor life for the foreseeable future. What is it, a week? A couple days?
I've got a week. My wife has gone to Michigan and left me here high and dry. She kept asking me if I was going to miss her, and I'm like, the more times you ask me, the less likely I am to be able to answer in a way that's going to make you happy.
He just wanted her to leave so he could drop trout and masturbate on the couch.
She kept insisting it was good starfish.
I assume she's just bringing a bunch of cans and getting that 10-cent deposit.
Right, exactly. She took a mail truck.
Her luggage is just full of cans. As you heard, that sweet, soft baritone voice over there. That's our friend, Man Crush Thursday, sexual confidant, and international man of mystery, Jack Picone.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me again, guys. I feel like I was just here.
Co-host. Remember, he got to earn co-host when he took over. Well, I was in Michigan last time.
Oh, yeah. Much to your stepdad's...
Yeah, if we could cool it on the F-bombs, Jack.
My stepdad's too busy listening to Serial, I assume. I don't know.
Is that still a thing?
Wait, don't tell me. No, maybe.
Jack, you haven't been here since February.
No, I did Jaws in the summer.
No, you totally did Jaws.
Fucking idiot. Oh, I'm sorry. I already broke it. I already used the F-bomb.
Fuck. Oh, yeah, you did
Wait,
Jaws.
don't fuck me.
Don't fuck me. Wait, slow down. I'm about to come.
So by the way, this is my first podcast outside of We Studios since I moved from Bay Ridge. I'm in Billytown now, Williamsburg. Unfortunately, I wanted to debut my new recording studio in my cave, but I can't get Wi-Fi down there because it's a cave. So this is some kind of temporary. This is my roommate's room.
So
I apologize to your viewers for the horrible blank wall behind there.
No one's watching this. We're not even a real podcast anymore.
That's true.
So if you moved out of Bay Ridge, does that mean that Bay Ridge Bob is now Williamsburg Bill?
Williamsburg Bill, maybe.
Got Gotta keep up on those worst episode ever characters.
Williamsburg is part of the hipster triangle with Portland, Oregon, and Austin, Texas. So I guess it wouldn't be Williamsburg, Bill. It would be like Williamsburg, like I don't know what's a really hipster name.
Oh, to the Google, because I will never come up with a good one. Asher, Atticus.
Yeah, Williamsburg, Asher.
Well, and it's got to be a little more. There's got to be a W one around here. Oh, Williamsburg, Magnus.
Well, that's a very common Scandinavian name.
Is it?
I don't know.
Me neither.
Sounded right, didn't it?
Williamsburg, Woodson.
There you go.
There we go.
Although when I hear Woodson, I think Goodson, and I think a Mark Goodson production, and I think Price is Right, and that's the opposite of Williamsburg.
What the hell just happened? So how far from Bay Ridge did you move? It's pretty far, right?
About a $39 Uber ride. So.
Let's see. I'm going to Google Maps for this.
Brooklyn is basically you can divide it up in many ways, but there's a North Brooklyn and a South Brooklyn that are completely inaccessible to one another via subways. Mm-hmm. And Bay Ridge was the very, very southern tip of Brooklyn. It's where you start out when you first play Grand Theft Auto 4. And Williamsburg is pretty much as north as you can get. There's one more neighborhood called Greenpoint, and then you're basically in Queens.
So this is concerning to me. I pulled up Google Maps. Williamsburg to Bay Ridge, center to center, is less than 9 miles. It's 8.9
Yeah,
miles.
it's very close.
And there's just a big red line in the middle. It says it's going to take you 31 minutes to drive there. That's not a place I want to live.
31's not bad. It's because the only way to get there is the BQE, which is considered the world's most congested highway.
Yeah, fuck that noise. If I'm going 8 miles somewhere, it's going to take me less than 8 minutes to get there.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, it kind of sucks because every time I go home to visit my family now, it's going to be like a nightmare. Instead of a 10-minute bus ride, it's going to be a whole fucking ordeal.
Your family still lives in Bay Ridge, I assume?
No, they live in Staten Island, but Bay Ridge is very close.
My God, I can't keep
Bay Ridge
shit
is
straight.
Staten Island and Brooklyn. The Verrazano Bridge connects Brooklyn and Staten Island. Very, very long suspension bridge. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the shadow of the West Tower, and now I was living in the shadow of the East Tower, and now I'm way, way, way. Williamsburg is where they film pretty much all of New York television. Williamsburg is across the river from Midtown. So you see, like in Daredevil and Jessica Jones, every time you're there, you're in Hell's Kitchen, which is in Midtown, right next to Times Square.
I love that
you
show.
somehow see New York City in the background. But I guess people think the producers go, well, if you see New York in the background, that's how you know you're in New York. Even though if you're in New York wouldn't be in the background.
Right.
Jersey would be in the background.
Oh.
So, but I know I've been noticing pretty much every show that films in New York shoots in the exact same 3 square blocks. Like if you watch the Homeland season from New York, and if you watch Daredevil and you watch any number of shows, you're going to notice like it's all the exact same buildings.
Interesting. Today I learned a lot about Brooklyn.
I am much closer to the city though. I went to the Lower East Side yesterday and it was amazing. I got there in like 15 minutes, which was crazy. Usually would take me like an hour and a half.
And that's the thing. Like when you say, "Well, I got there in 15 minutes," I'm like, I don't know what your frame of reference is here.
So, like you saying something about 8 minutes. The only place I can get 8 minutes from here would be like
the lobby,
like a pizzeria. Yeah, like there's you can't get anywhere in 8 minutes.
See, now it takes me 20 minutes to get to Appleton, whereas I used to live in Appleton. So it's like 15 minutes at least to get to some sort of real grocery store. But I stood in a line at Walmart today for 27 minutes to check
That's
out.
insane. I couldn't have done.
I was not happy, and I just left the gym, so I smell and I'm sweating. The fucking line is so long, and I had a basket because they were out of carts. My wife wanted some beer, so I had beer in the basket, and the thing's about to snap in half. Yeah, it was not good. It's not one of my finer moments. But hey, I got home.
But we're here. We're
here.
here. And this is our Halloween episode, right? This is podcast of Halloween.
Yeah. Halloween of Terror 2017.
When does this air? It airs on Halloween.
Yeah, it'll come out. The actual audio will come out on Halloween. So this is the first time, and it's our 3rd Halloween episode.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. So if you're not familiar with Jack, where can people listen to your sultry tones?
I am the host of NPR's Fresh Air.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Terry Gross.
Do you eat soda biscuits and
Yeah, I
chew
do.
directly into the microphone?
No, you can check out everything at weepodcast.com, weepodcast.com. That's the home of We Studios, which is a podcast network founded by myself and Dan Mulhall. We are currently on hiatus because Dan is days away from having a baby.
Nah,
Well,
it's
his
a fuck
wife-
trophy.
Yeah.
We call them fuck trophies here.
So they're having a baby, and because I just moved, and now me and Dan live, a $40 Uber ride away from each other.
You got to start using the internet to record these things.
I guess it works very well for the two of you. It would be nice if I had Wi-Fi in my apartment, but
we'll figure that out for you, or Corey will. Corey, I got a project for you.
But yeah, no, we'll continue on.
And you still have episodes coming out, right? You guys pre-recorded for.
We tried to. I think we only have maybe 2 left in the bank. Oh, and I was supposed to edit one this weekend. Wow, there's at least 1.5 out there. I don't know if we'll have time to finish over the rest of the year. And 90s Percentile has been off the air for a while. I've got hours of deleted scenes I want to release, but I haven't had time. This move, I gave myself a week to do this move, and it was not nearly enough time.
We moved almost 6 months ago, and I still have things in boxes.
Oh, that's disconcerting.
Well, it's
I moved
like
10 years ago, and I still have things in boxes.
Yeah, Corey wins.
I can't because my apartment's much smaller, and I'm sharing it with 2 guys now. It sucks. It's a huge step down in standard of living. But also I'm probably gonna leave all my kitchen stuff in a box because I don't even have a cupboard to put my plates in. So why bother?
So now
I'll probably have like a plate and a fork.
Now that you live with 2 other guys, do you have like pickle dance Thursdays?
We do. We have lots and lots of just gay orgies because we're all under the same roof. Why not, right?
You guys just get real drunk and start sword fighting.
That's it. We put tampons soaked in vodka up our own buttholes.
Sometimes you just got a butt chug to get through the day.
It's a nice bonding.
What was that?
It's a nice bonding experience.
Oh, Jesus. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact information, subscription links, you can go to gncast.com/pot. You can share with us on our Slack channel during shows, gncast.com/sign up. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter. We already talked about what Jack does. Jack does all things awesome. And if you're not familiar with Jack, go check him out. Corey and I have both been on Corey, have you done a worst episode ever yet?
Shh, don't bring that up.
Well, I know he's not a huge Simpsons fan, so it kind of makes sense if he hasn't.
Like Jack, I think I come back in for the Halloween episode specifically and always hope that they're going to be good. The new one had Neil Gaiman in it, so that was nice.
Oh, that's good.
I did not like the new one, but
I haven't seen it, but he was good in his last appearance in The Book Job.
Yeah.
You're a fucking nerd. I'm always very impressed at how well you and Dan retain like Simpsons knowledge.
I mean, Dan's light years ahead of me, although he watches it a lot more than I do. Yeah, no, it's. I haven't watched. I really rarely sit down and watch The Simpsons anymore. Maybe once in a blue moon. It's just from those like after school syndication.
I
just watch every day for 10 years.
Recently, I went back and acquired season 1 through 11 in a digital method, and I have all the DVDs. So
it's okay then.
Well, yeah. So it's not. Yeah. I have the DVDs, but
it's like if you're married, it's okay to masturbate.
Yeah, somehow it went through the roof when I got married, but that's for the podcast of masturbation. And what I've been doing is like if I'm cleaning, I will just like put them on random, and
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and it's just so impressive at how every time an episode comes on, it's always a good one. Like there's no hot dog trash happening.
Yeah, if you have the first 11 seasons, there's you got a handful of clunkers, but definitely majority.
Oh yeah. I was one of the idiots that bought all the DVDs too, even when they started to suck, because I'm a completionist.
You got to do what you got to do. I own all the Bond movies. Except Spectre, but
I never got into Bond movies, so I don't know what I'm missing.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like I just got like.
I don't have the energy. Clearly.
Well, Well, I
You know,
wasn't trying to get you to sell me on Bond movies, and just
I'm very low energy. But I'm not going to bother convincing you. I'm just going to write you off. Just
oh, it's fine.
You're not going to watch.
It's fine.
You're not going to watch James Bond. Don't watch James Bond. What the fuck can I? What am I gonna do?
For Matt, James Bond is just like Doctor Who. He can't even choose a favorite. He just hates them all.
I don't
equally.
hate James Bond movies. There's just so many other things that I would rather watch that when it comes down to picking something, it's just the queue is so deep that it's just that's the way it is.
That's why I don't watch The Simpsons. That's why, as much as I would love to watch The Simpsons, I don't. I'm always watching something new.
That makes sense. I don't. But here's the thing: is I don't like putting something new on if I will not be 100% attentive to the TV.
That's true. That's true.
So The Simpsons are always a classic go-to if I need to clean and I want TV on, but I don't want to miss something.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, we've talked about everything Jack does. So let's get to the old.
All right. Good night, guys. Oh wait. Oh.
We'll wrap it up for the world's fastest episode of the podcast here. Hey Corey, what you drinking?
I mentioned last episode that I was saving something because I wasn't feeling too well. So today I broke open my dad's blue cream soda.
I thought it was going to be Faygo Blue Moon Mist.
They don't have Faygo out here.
It looks like Glass Plus.
Yeah, it really is. It's a Windexy taste.
It's just a
Windex. It's just a cream soda, but it's very nice.
But it's
I enjoy
blue.
it.
I love a good cream soda.
Jack, what are you drinking?
Well, you were very nice enough to send me some beer, including beer related to tonight's movie.
Mm-hmm.
This one is the Duck Rabbit. It is a Scotch ale, which I'm not a beer connoisseur, and I'm not afraid to. I'm not embarrassed to admit I've never heard of a Scotch style ale, although it seems to be a pretty common thing. I was really shocked at how much it tastes like Scotch. It was made in Farmville. That's interesting.
The Facebook game?
I guess made in Farmville, North Carolina. And I thought you were being cute. It says "We Heavy," WEE. I thought you were doing like a whole worst episode ever acronym, but apparently,
nope.
Fool me once. Anytime you ever do anything clever, I have to just remember that it must be some kind of coincidence.
Yeah, I'm a simple man. Actually, a Wee Heavy is a style. So there's Scotch ales, and then there are Wee Heavy Scotch ales.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
That's why all those Scottish people keep downloading our podcast and then immediately deleting it. This isn't about beer. This isn't about Scotch ale.
Yeah, that's why they're deleting it.
Yeah, it's not all the voices or the tangents. Or
you finally got the bug, thankfully. Do you just have the? What about all the other stuff I sent you? Did you drink them already? Did you drink the Enjoy Buys?
No, I was. The plan was I was going to drink them gradually throughout our conversation and see how drunk I get.
Yeah.
And I wanted to introduce the particular can of beer. I'm guessing you sent it because of its direct relation to The Witch.
No. Yeah.
Was that a coincidence as well?
No. I mean, that's why I sent you the picture in the first place.
Matt has no recollection of actually sending you anything.
I do.
No, Matt is a sweetheart. I know he comes off as a crude buffoon.
You guys just make me sound like an alcoholic asshole.
Every time he opens his mouth, I know you think the lowest of him because looks and sounds. But Matt is such a sweetheart, and he sent me this beer. He shipped it, and I was in the middle of the move, and he was just like, "Where should I send it?" I was like, "I don't fucking know. Leave me alone. I will figure it out, and I will tell you." And he just like he was so patient with me and so calm, and it got here so quick. I got a text from my brand new roommate. It was just a picture of like a beat up Amazon box, and it just said, "This came for you." And I was like, "I'll be there soon."
Yeah. So, like, I guess I'll talk about what I'm drinking. Pumpkin Disorderly, because it's almost the end of October, so I got to get all my white girl beers out of the way. It's a spiced pumpkin ale, if you couldn't figure that one out. And then, as Jack mentioned, we have some beers, kind of. They're ciders that are particular to this movie. It's called Black Phillip. It is a blood orange cider.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
I was going to drink a bunch of them. I don't know if I can drink that much cider. The sugar gets to me more than the alcohol.
Well, good thing I sent you those 2 bottles of Enjoy By. Yeah, so what happened was that I was up in Door County, which, if you're not familiar, it's the thumb of Wisconsin, for an ale fest, and this Blake's Hard Cider Company was there. And I sent Jack the can, and at that point we had already decided that we were going to do the witch for Halloween.
We decided like in February, I believe.
Yeah. So he's like, "Oh, you should get it for the podcast." So I did. It was super easy to find. It's not like it was that difficult. I didn't have to like castrate any chickens.
I'm sorry. The entire thumb of Wisconsin is one county?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's called Door.
That's a big county.
The county of
They
Door.
should call it Thumb. They should call it Thumb County.
Thumb County. So there's
They thought about calling it Shocker, but
there's like there's a gap. So you have to take this like really tiny rickety bridge to get over there.
Really?
And then once you get over there, it's like going back in time. Like there are minimal grocery stores. There's no Walmarts. There's nothing big. Like it's where rich people from Illinois go to vacation.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's just all resorts and golf courses and moms in tight soccer jean pants.
So what do they eat?
There's restaurants up the ass. It's just loose pants. They just eat loose pants. Is that what you said?
I said, when he asked what do soccer moms in tight pants eat, I said, hopefully dads in loose pants.
Fuck yeah. No, there's we went to some pizza place. I can't remember what it was called, but we went there last year as well, and they had like a peanut butter and jelly pizza. So I got real drunk and ate that off the kids menu after like eating a normal meal. Because I'm fat.
Nice. There's a place I used to order for. Bay Ridge has maybe the best food in the entire city, and I'm gonna miss it so much. And there was a pizzeria that made a Nutella calzone.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss that place.
I'm turned on now.
Yeah, that's crazy. You'd think they would build a better bridge.
I feel like they cannot afford to not have a bridge there. Like so Door County is
It keeps sounding. Is it me, Corey? It sounds like he's saying Dork County.
No,
I believe that he is. It's part of the charm of going there. It's like entering into the mouth of madness, that you cross a rickety bridge and wonder if you've actually gone to the other side of existence.
It's like that Sliders. It's like the season 2 premiere of Sliders, where it was a weird Gothic medieval San Francisco, and the Golden Gate Bridge was just a really long rickety bridge that led to a wizard.
What the fuck?
That's actually not inauthentic to what going to San Francisco is anyway.
All right, Jack. The width of Door County is roughly the same distance.
How thick is it, bro?
It's
how thick's the bridge? Bro, what's the girth?
I don't know how thick the bridge is. It's like 9 miles wide.
Bro, that's fucking wide, bro.
I'm saying it's not wide. It takes over 4 hours to get across the state.
Bro, I take over 4 hours.
I don't hate this voice you're doing at all. I wouldn't be upset if
I've never done my Staten Island voice for you.
I mean, I've heard it on your show. You've just never done it on our show.
I used to do it all the time for people. I used to tell this direct story. I don't even exaggerate it. A direct conversation I overheard. So when I went to NYU and people were like, "What's Staten Island like?" I would just tell this story. When I was on a school bus and I heard the two guys in back of me, they were in the back seats of the school bus on either side of the aisle, and they were talking, and they were going, "Bro, remember last time we took a bus? We were with Ski Slopes, and who Ski Slopes? Bro, you don't remember Ski Slopes? You know, she was sitting in the back and she was jerking off 2 different guys across the aisle. So, bro, Ski Slopes, Ski Slopes." Yeah. And it's like that, and it's like that is the nature of every discourse on Staten Island.
I don't know if I could handle it.
Our congressman was in jail because of he wouldn't pay his taxes, and then a reporter brought it up and he punched him and started cursing at him.
Right.
And he got out early. Now he's running for re-election. I think he's up in the polls.
What the fuck is wrong with their country?
I don't know. Well, he'll be dead soon. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised my liver's lasted this long. Since no one ever leaves us feedback, we don't have any feedback to read.
I'll leave you some feedback.
You already
guys
have.
You do a great show.
But you already have.
Oh, all right. Never mind.
Remember when I cracked the case of who Rory G. Bellows was?
We podcasters have to look out for one another.
No, absolutely. I've written reviews for both your shows.
No. How else is our very important opinions going to get out there in the world?
If it wasn't for this thing that we record every week and put out, forcing people to listen to our opinions, we must.
Giving reviews on your show is the only reason I downloaded iTunes.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Corey fucking hates iTunes, and I don't get it.
iTunes is terrible. I don't blame him. It used to be amazing, and then at some point it just became this. It's the reason I can't argue in favor of Macs and Apple with my PC friends, because they bring up iTunes and I go, all right, you win.
Let me ask you this. So I know you have an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
How fucking terrible is the podcast app since iOS 11 came out?
Oh, I hated it at first. It's grown on me. I found out the way I do it is.
I have such a hard time with this.
And as one of my listeners in Reddit suggested I download Overcast, and I did, and I liked it, but I never switched it over because I had already had all my subscriptions in my podcast app, so I was like, why bother? But Overcast seems to be really cool. But what I do with the podcast app is, I'm opening it up now. You click library and then you click episodes. And I find that to be a very, very simple way to just get through my podcast, because I always listen to the most recent first.
Oh, see, I've been going through Reply All.
Wait, what?
There's a podcast called Reply All.
Oh, yeah, the show.
Yeah. I didn't. You just started laughing.
No. Yeah, do library episodes. It works for me. And the new iOS update is great because now the now playing feature automatically turns to your watch, which has been amazing because it was always finicky. And now every time I look at my watch, I can control. Not only I can go back 15 seconds, I can go 14 up 15 seconds. I can pause, and I can even control the speed, which is great. And I don't even have to do anything. I just have to look at my watch. I was so happy with that feature.
I agree. I was so used to, while driving, because I have to do that, is tapping the skip 15 seconds every time someone fucking starts an ad. Now I can just do it on my watch.
Yep, that, and I usually cut the first 6 minutes of a podcast when they're doing all their bullshit.
So for those of you just joining us, this episode of Podcast with Tara is brought to you by Audible.
I think our last episode of Worst Episode or so, I think the one that's going to come out in like three weeks or so, I think we did a bunch of Casper ads for no reason. We had a lot of fun doing Casper ads. Even we weren't getting paid or anything, but Dan had a nice voice. It was a whole thing.
I was listening to Tell 'em Steve Dave, and they were talking about how they got bitched at by a sponsor because they did an ad with less than 10% of an episode left. I didn't fucking know that was the thing. We used to do when we would run ads when I cared more. We would do them right before we would say what's coming up next week, so there would be a minute left. So we can't be a legitimate podcast because we run the ads too late.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Corey. Doesn't usually their last ad is within that 10% window, but they do
This Week in Tech, definitely Leo gets to it in the last section right before he starts saying goodbye to everybody, and then sometimes he'll get surprise content after that. But yeah, you're right. They've got 4 ads that they're doing in a 2-hour block, and so that last one usually sneaks up on them. Plus, they've got the what happened this week on Twit and everything else.
That I use my second button. I skip all that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem listening to the ads, especially when they're natural ads that the people are hosting or reading.
I have a lot of problems with Leo Laporte. I think he's between you and me. I think he's the worst part of This Week in Tech, or the least good part.
I had a very poor experience with him one time.
Oh well, I don't want to get into the.
I'm just saying, you're not alone.
When there's guest hosts, I seem to enjoy the show even more. But I think he's amazing. I think he's very good at doing ads. And I will say, I think he's one of the best natural, besides me and Dan, of course, at just doing an in recording ad, whatever the phrase would be. What I use the skip 15 button for is the this is what you missed on This Week in Tech, all the other shows, and this is the upcoming, because I'm not going to listen to them. So it's I always look. I'm a very efficient podcast listener, so I'm always looking for wherever I can cut the fat, I cut it.
So how long is your commute now? Now that you've moved, how long is your commute?
It's I haven't gone to work yet.
Okay.
Since I moved, I'll find out on Tuesday. I took tomorrow off.
Oh, nice.
But I believe it's 10-15 minutes shorter.
Oh, okay. That's not.
That's good. Yeah, so I might get more. Yeah, I might get more listening done because I probably won't be able to sleep. Bay Ridge, because it's the very southern part of Brooklyn, I was always first on the train, so I'd get a nice corner seat and just go to sleep and just sleep for 45 minutes. I'll probably be standing on this train. It'll be a very crowded train, and I'll be getting. I believe I'm the last stop in Brooklyn before we go into Manhattan, so it'll be a very uncomfortable ride. So I'll probably be listening to more podcasts and audiobooks.
Yeah, as far as podcast listening, I listen to my podcast normally at 1.5 times speed, but you and Dan are why I can't.
I'm very proud of that. I like to call it. I say we're 2x proof. I worked my way up to 2x, and then the last few months I had to go back down to 1.5. I was missing too much, except for NPR podcasts and Sam Harris. I can do in 2x. You guys, I think I do 2x too. Sometimes it might be 1.5.
No, I highly recommend that.
Well,
you shouldn't spend a whole hour with us.
Now I'm going to try and.
It's all based on how fast people talk. Like I'm a naturally talk faster. See.
Yep.
So it's hard to listen to us on 2x.
When reading things, I talk really fast. I've been told that I read our shit too fast. When talking normally, I probably talk normal speed.
I was the magic mirror in the 5th grade school play of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I blew through my line so fast, and the teacher was so mad at me.
Was it like in Billy Madison? Slow down.
I can almost still remember my lines from 23 years ago, but it was just like, is the fairest of them all.
I wish whoever was playing, goddamn, it's not Snow White, right? Who's the other one?
Rose Red?
No.
Cinderella?
Oh. Who says
Sleeping
that?
Beauty?
Is it the?
What are you asking?
I don't even know. Who talks to the?
Okay, yeah, it is the Wicked Witch.
This is literally the question that Matt.
I think I just stroked out.
It's not Snow White. It's the other one.
Oh my God! It's Cinderella's not even. Oh goddamn. Whatever. Good thing I'm too lazy to edit my own podcast, so I just sound like a functional fucking idiot.
Yeah, I stopped finally cutting out all my Trump rants. I just started leaving them all in.
I think they're hilarious. Sorry, I was reading what Crowley said. He wants to know why you listen at 1.5 speed, but you can answer that after I make the statement because otherwise I'll forget. She made some comment about Trump being a fucking man-child, and she goes, "Oh shit, the echo heard me. The feds will be here." And I'm like, "No, Jack Picone calls him a cunt all the time, and he's not in jail."
All the time.
Yeah, I'm not important enough, I guess.
Has wished death upon him multiple times.
Yeah, Dan's worried that I keep wishing death upon him, but as long as I'm not like wishing somebody do it or that I do it, like as long as it's of natural causes, I feel like I'm totally solid ground here.
Please note
it also seems really feasible.
Please note that the comments and feelings of Jack Picone are not also those of mine or Corey's. If someone wants to,
no. Matt and Corey love Donald Trump, and they want.
No, whoa. That's not true.
You heard it here first, folks. It's not Snow White; it's the other one.
Donald Trump.
What's the question about 1.5?
Why listen at 1.5 speed?
Just so I can get more podcasts in. I don't listen to.
You go for speed, not comfort.
I don't listen to many comedy podcasts. I don't listen to many podcasts like the ones that you guys do, or the ones that I do. I tend to listen to informational ones because I just like to absorb as much information as possible. So it's an efficiency thing. I never not have a podcast to listen to. So the faster I do it, the faster I can get to the next one. And audiobooks, I should really do more for entertainment, but because I have so many in my queue, I also try to do those at, between 1.25 and 2x. I just did the X-Files audiobooks. They were terrible, but I had to do those at 1.25 because at 1.5, the acting seemed even worse. And I never tried 1.25 before, but for some reason, David Duchovny wouldn't work in 1.5.
You don't listen to the black tapes at all, do you?
Like rap music or
no, the Black Tapes podcast.
Yes, Matt, tell us about Dougie Doug and Cool Mo D.
It's like a shitty
Oh, not Dougie Fresh.
Dougie Fresh.
I was like the guy from Cosby.
I was just watching Dougie Doug on Eight-Legged Freaks the other day, so he's standing out in my mind.
He also starred in That Darn Cat
Yeah.
reboot. Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt. What were you saying?
No, it's fine. Black Tapes Podcast is like a shitty docudrama that they try and play off as being real, and they even like went as far as making some of the websites that they reference. And now it's like towards the end of season 2, and the acting is just so bad that half the time I'm like, why am I still listening to this?
It's I've been trying to figure it out myself. It's like, is it the script or is it the actors? Because Gillian or Jillian? I say Gillian Anderson.
Jillian. That's what I say. I jerked off to her a lot as a child.
Likewise. And David,
I think I want to say it's Gillian Anderson and Jillian Jacobs.
I want to say spank bank material.
Anyway, they're both very good actors, especially
They're very lovely
company as well. And the acting was so bad, so I was like, man, I guess it's the script, but it might also be the format. Maybe they're just as good at actors as they are. Maybe if you put them in a studio booth with nobody to work off of, some people are good at it and some people aren't. So
they went up sounding like Harrison Ford doing the voiceovers for Blade Runner.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. And but like I've listened to a lot of like audio podcast dramas, and they're always terrible. And it's like, oh, this is amateur hour. It feels like a student film. But I'm thinking, maybe it's the medium. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if it's Gillian or Jillian. I've always called her Jillian. I may continue to do so.
I don't know. I was calling the star of 28 Days Later Cillian Murphy for years before somebody corrected me.
How do you say that one?
Killian.
Oh. All right.
Or if he's a pothead, it's Chillian. And if his middle name was Charles and his last name was a type of fish, he'd be Chilean sea bass.
In answer to what Matt said earlier, no, Podcast of Terror listeners, you are not allowed to quit in the middle of listening to the show. You have to keep listening. Once you started, you can't stop. That's the rules.
I will be right back. I'm going to go grab my Black Phillip from my roommate's mini fridge.
Do it. We'll make fun of you while you're gone.
Highly recommend that you drink.
Yeah.
This should be a lot easier, but I've just wrapped in cables.
I only brought 3. I feel like I should have gotten more. Yeah, Jack's got to go back to his other home, so. Huh. So how are things?
I'm good.
Good.
Rikering back in.
For those
that is not
as smooth as Jonathan Frakes.
That is. I'll wait till you get your headphones on. That was not the Riker maneuver. That was more the Tasha Yar.
Yeah, for those not watching,
that was the Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah. It's been a long road.
Jesus.
By the way, I'm missing Star Trek Discovery to do this for you guys tonight. So you're welcome.
I have a method in which you can watch
No,
it.
you're welcome.
Yeah, seriously. What's up, Matt?
I said I have a way you can watch it if you missed it, if you don't have a DVR.
I don't have a DVR, but I'm paying $60 a year for CBS All Access. So it's cool.
So okay, all right. Yes.
DVR actually doesn't work, I believe, because it's not on CBS. It's app exclusive.
Oh.
Yeah, literally, me and millions of people purposely paid for this app just for this one show.
Yep.
Because I'm telling you, it's not for the Sheldon remake.
Oh God,
I haven't even
Spin-off,
watched it.
Sheldon.
I've given up on watching Big Bang Theory too. So whatever.
we're about 3 episodes behind on Big Bang Theory, and I feel like it my wife only humors me by watching along with me, and I'm kind of done with it too.
It's just
Was it ever good? I've never watched it.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
I hear a lot of people say that it's making fun of nerds, and it. I get that, but that's every goddamn show makes fun of the people that are a part of it. It doesn't matter what you're in. If you're a right-wing person and you watch the Last Man Standing, and you're all upset because Tim Allen and the show got canceled, and they think it's a left-wing conspiracy that the show got canceled, even though it had good ratings. No, it's because ABC's stupid, but they make fun of the right-wing minded guy who's in the show. That's what sitcoms do. They make fun of everybody that's on there. Your favorite characters get made fun of the most.
Yeah, no,
If you're watching Kevin James show, you should just be shot. But also, the joke's on him all the goddamn time. That's what the show is supposed to do. But I liked The Big Bang Theory okay at first. I liked it a lot more when they introduced the female cast. Not just Penny, but when they introduced Amy Farrah Fowler and Bernadette, because I think that they added a lot to the show and they were more interesting than the guys were. Because guys just all kind of had the same interests, so the women are varied.
That's true.
Yeah, no, the last thing you want to watch is a bunch of white nerds shooting the shit.
That's what I watch at lunch every day.
Isn't that what's actively happening?
Oh, yeah. So what's next? What are we doing? News? News?
No, we quit doing news because I'm lazy.
Oh, all right.
So now
We figured we'd give everybody about 30 to 45 minutes of just us talking shit at the beginning of the show. Like,
yeah.
It's my favorite part of worst episode ever. My favorite part is doing the introduction before we have to talk about the show. And then 90s percentile, the original premise was we would start the timer and immediately jump into a topic. And I believe like the first 6 episodes we do that. And honestly, my favorite part of the show is recording. Sometimes we spend 10, 15 minutes before getting into a topic.
Yeah, I love when you have a topic that's been suggested by a patron and it's been 55 minutes and you're still not to their topic yet.
Yeah, they're good people. We've been blessed with a very great fan base who are willing to put up with a lot of shit.
It's true.
What I was going to say though is there is some news. I'm guessing you haven't talked about then, if you haven't been doing news for the last few weeks, that we can tie into The Witch later when we talk about.
Well, we should probably start talking about The Witch right now. I don't even know how long we've been recording because
I know it's an hour and 5 minutes after we were supposed to start. Here, I got my Black Phillip, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm curious what you think of it. So put it in your mouth.
I already did. It's interesting.
It's not as sweet as I think you may have thought it was going to be. It's definitely not one that I could pound like 3 of, but
I mean, I love me some blood orange, so it's very for a cider. It's very tasty.
I agree.
And it supports the devil, so that's another plus in its favor.
I do not support the devil. I know Jack and I have varying beliefs, but
oh no, I told the devil. I said, "Hey, Matt says he doesn't like you, but he does."
You'd really think by outward appearance I probably do, but
yeah, the tattoos and the devil music you play.
You're not the first person that has been like, "Oh, your heavy metal is all Satan." Like, you go fuck yourself, human being. Let's talk about The Witch.
Sorry, I got distracted. My mom just texted me, "Are you out of apartment on 4th now?"
Oh, tell your mom I said hi.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I didn't think you would. It wasn't like, seriously, Jack, tell your mom I said hi. Because then it would be like, who's that? And then you have to explain to her that I'm your weird internet friend.
I'm just going to do what I normally do and just not reply and leave her hanging.
So I know my mother-in-law doesn't listen to this, so I can tell you this story.
About how you worship the devil?
No, my mother-in-law does not worship the devil that I know of. But my in-laws and my wife kind of had an out. And her mom... It's a story for not right now. I can tell you
exactly. Later. Not on air. I mean, I can tell you guys about my meeting yesterday with new family members. So not on air.
Yeah, we can talk about it later. But this one I can't. So her mom still texts her, and they like act like nothing happened. But every text that she gets sent is like real long. It's like real formal, which I think is fucking hilarious. So she sent me a screenshot.
That could be a good Tumblr.
She sent me a screenshot of like her text string with her mom, which is just messages from her mom. They're all like, "Hi, Alyssa," and then it's like, "What the point is?" And then it's real formal.
I'm gonna workshop. I was supposed to have done this already, and I haven't because the move has been so horrible. But I'm gonna be doing it soon, I hope. And I want to get your guys' input on this. I wanted to either create an Instagram or a Tumblr. I think Tumblr would be better, but I'm going to probably do Instagram because it's easier. But I'm curious what you guys think. There is an app called Citizen. I think Corey might be able to use it, but probably that's it. I think it's only New York and San Francisco. And basically it gives you updates on every 911 call in your area.
Yes.
Actually, it's in the city.
I want it.
Yeah, and my watch lights up anytime it's super close by. So it's been super convenient. But anyway, I want to create an Instagram of my favorite ones. And I had a couple of buddies sending me screenshots as well. So here's some of the ones that have happened this week. This was today during the storm. Man hit in face with umbrella. Somebody called 911. Let's see. Oh no, that was a real. Oh, wig on fire.
That's a good one.
Outside fire, on fire escape. Fire in third floor Taco Bell, which is just like, why is there a Taco Bell on the third floor? Oh, this is a good one. 30
Because shit runs downhill.
30 teens fighting in front of church. 30. Like the Warriors. Cow corralled in Prospect Park after hours-long chase. Well, not that big a park. Assault with bag of candy. Woman throwing blood at subway riders. That's on my list. Man carrying gun in bucket on train.
You got to carry it around somehow. Does that count as a concealed carry?
It's an open bucket. If the bucket has a lid. 50 students fighting. Squirrel loose in apartment. People sickened by fumes coming from trash can.
Oh, God.
But yes, I
Taco Bell.
want to create an Instagram. Oh, and the very first one I got, fight inside Applebee's. That one happens very often. So I got the app and I was like, all right, let's see what the 911 calls are like. And the very first one I got was duct tape man dragged into abandoned house. And I was just like, now, is this a weird coincidence or are they all going to be like this? Is this happening every day?
So what is this?
And was the duct taping as part of them dragging him into the house, or was he was already duct taped and they're like, hey, we need something like this to go up there to find the hamster, and so they grabbed him off the street.
No, I'm pretty sure they executed him.
So what's this app called? What is this thing called?
Citizen.
Citizen.
You can't get. I'm pretty sure it's only New York and San Francisco.
I have an app called You Are Listening To, which is something that I sleep to sometimes. It's got New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Detroit, Moscow, Seattle, St. Petersburg, and San Francisco. And what it does is it plays police radio stuff that you would hear. And then nicely, it gives you some background music if you want to turn that on. I actually use my Rain app side by side with it. Yeah, so I'll listen to sleep. I'll listen to thunderstorm stuff, and then on top of that have the Detroit area police radio calls going out, just adding to it.
I knew there
My
was
wife does not understand me at all.
No, there's something. I listen to police scanners all the time. There's something very lullaby-ish about them.
Yeah, because they keep their calm when they're talking about sometimes really gruesome shit, and it's just that same monotone voice going over like 1 out of 12.
Oh yeah, and I like the beat, like the extended silences, and then they're like, it's nice, it's comforting. I just like when people get murdered. That's all.
Yeah,
this makes me warm. It gives me a warm fuzzy feeling.
I just like to know there's chaos going out there in the world.
This happened back in July, but there's a scanner Facebook group for our area, and
join one of those.
What's that?
You told me about that. I gotta join. that.
Yeah, it's fucking great. It's hilarious. But there was a music festival that happened in Oshkosh. We were actually playing in Oshkosh the same night. And how
was it overall?
What?
Oshkosh, Bagosh.
Oh, God.
How was it overall?
See, it's to you that's like a normal thing to say. Like we were going over to Oshkosh, but when I hear it, I just see overalls.
I drive through Oshkosh all the time. Anyways, there was a Fox City Scanner post, and it just said, "Man called 911, ate pot cookie, and thought he was dying." That guy, probably needs to get out more.
That would be me if I was able to dial 911.
I think you need to dial it back a little bit if you're eating so much you think you're gonna die.
I could take half a Toke and I feel like I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Well, that's cheap for you then.
Yeah, no, I'm it's great. That's why I don't have to do LSD or mushrooms.
Oh my God, I would lose my fucking mind if I did either one of those. The paint would start talking to me.
I've never done it. I don't know how it would go. I just know that my brain's already halfway there on its own. Why push it?
Yeah, I know a buddy of mine cannot smoke marijuana anymore because he freaks out too much. Like we ate brownies one time, and he essentially got into bed, and every time his dog would stop moving, he would kick it because he thought it was dead. His dog wouldn't move for a minute, and he would like freak out thinking the dog was dead. And he's like, at one point at 4 a.m, I got up and I stared in the mirror, and I said, if this doesn't stop, I'm gonna kill myself.
Jesus, I do that sober. I did that sober. I was always anytime I looked over at my pet, I was just like, oh, they're dead. And then one time they were, and it was just like, whoa,
Oh
okay.
God. Jesus, Jack.
Yeah.
You need to make things all sad. There's now 2 Corys in here. One's frozen, one's not.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. What's going on?
Gmail's full of shit.
Oh, I thought we were doing like a Bananarama video or something.
I am your Venus.
Let's talk about the witch. I'm really curious what you guys think of it.
Corey has to do the recap because I'm bad at them.
Oh God, no! Let me skip this one. This is a hard one to recap.
Now, Jack, is this the first time you've seen this movie?
No. As you recall, I have been I've been wanting to cover this movie since maybe our first appearance ever.
I actually have a list of movies that you and Dan have mentioned doing on this show. So
I mean, I picked this one particularly because I wanted to do something as tonally similar to Gremlins 2, the new batch, as possible. And it's a joke. It
was no, I felt it.
Sure. So I saw this movie in the theater.
Oh, nice. I would have loved to have seen this in the theater. I was actually thinking that watching it today. I was like, man, this must have been great in the theater. I will be going to see every movie ever now in theaters now that I got Movie Pass.
Oh, you'll have to let me know how you like it. How close do you live to a movie theater, though? Because I know you have to be like within 100 yards to sign in or some shit.
New York City, there's literally dozens of movie theaters within 100 yards of me.
Yeah, the closest one to me is, you got to ride a donkey and then take a boat. You got to forge
the reason I signed up was because I mean, pretty much every theater in the city is taking it, but the 3 theaters within walking distance of my place take it, and all the ones in the city around my work take it, and all the major ones take it. It's just like it was a no-brainer.
So I was really kind of stemming off of that. I don't like doing things alone. I get weird. Like I don't like going out to eat alone. I don't like going into a bar alone, even if I'm meeting people there. Alone? I masturbate with my wife all the time or friends.
No, I'm the opposite. I love going to a bar alone. I love going to the movies alone.
I love masturbating with Matt's wife.
Yeah, she's $10 an hour.
Oh my goodness!
One of those cam websites.
Whatever good traits you have for her to stay with you, they're not good enough.
I can cook really well.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I made like beef stew and I ate it. I'm like, now I know why you married me. Like, sure as fuck isn't for any other reason.
No, I was thinking that. I was like, man, I really wish, because of the score especially and like how loud the score is, I was like, I would love to have seen this in a theater.
Yeah, I watched it again this morning while playing the South Park game, which is probably not the smartest thing I've done, but this movie is very, very slow. And
it's interesting you say that.
I thought this movie was horrendously slow, but horrendously slow in a way that works because it's supposed to take place in, what, the 1800s?
No.
15? 1600s, okay.
Maybe the 15. Definitely not the 1800s.
I'm not a science man.
The science of time.
All right, I'm looking up when this is supposed to take place.
I mean, it's definitely like Puritan, like Salem witch trials.
17th century, so that's what, 1600s?
Yeah, either late 1600s or early 1700s would be the 17th century.
Yeah, so
I wish my roommate Nick, we watched it together. He had a lot of interesting things to say about it. He's a history guy. I wish he was around to talk about it, because he was talking about how like it was pretty much right before the Enlightenment and the Revolution and all that jazz.
Well, you should see if Nick wants to come on, since we steal everything else.
I asked him, but he went to go see Suburbicon without me. Not that.
Thank God somebody's seen Suburbicon.
Did it bomb?
Yes, they're saying that it's because Hollywood is very much pissed off at Harvey Weinstein, so Suburbicon is failing because of associations.
I thought it looked good. I mean, it looks like I feel like you know exactly what you're gonna get watching it.
Well,
it looks great.
I have a theory that every movie George Clooney directs, he has to put in a straight close-up shot of somebody getting punched in the nose. Every one of his movies, he just seems to be in love with that shot.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
So I was not at all familiar with what this movie was, so I Googled it, and the first thing that popped up is Suburbicon is a bizarre, misguided train wreck.
Oy. It's a Coen Brothers script that the Coen Brothers wrote, and they're like, you know what, this isn't good. This isn't worth making. And then George Clooney's like, I'll do it. So that goes to show you. I mean, look, the Coen Brothers' worst script on their worst day is probably better than anything I could do. So like, I still think, and it seems like a really, I'm in love with that idea of like, modern America, suburban America. It's like it looks very like almost like Edward Scissorhands in a way.
Yeah. And how many Coen Brothers movies are huge hits?
Yeah, that's true too. 6. I don't know.
That's good. I wanted a legitimate answer.
I'm looking it up.
I'm not into science, Corey.
Yeah.
Numbers.
I hate math.
So somebody's got to do a recap of the plot here.
So it's about a family who lives in.
Oh, for Christ's sake, I'll do it. All right.
They live in New England.
Yeah, I was just trying to formulate my ideas, and Jack just got sick
it's a
of my
period
shit.
film, and it's I consider it a foreign language film because I can't understand a word they're fucking saying. It's in English.
Truth.
Yeah, everything they say is very time period correct.
Yeah, he hath doth thy bosom.
Did you notice that the cans of Black Phillip say, "Would you like to live life deliciously"?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Sorry. Proceed.
Cranberry and blood orange. Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, no, it takes place. It's a Puritan family in New England, and for whatever reason, I wasn't 100% sure. I think maybe the dad was too religious. The family gets expelled from the community, and they have to basically build a corn farm in the middle of nowhere. And the farm isn't doing well, and it's a dad, a mom, 2 teenagers, and 2 toddlers, and a baby. And the farm's not doing well, and the baby goes missing. And all these horrible things keep happening. The crop is dying, and it looks like they're cursed. And the toddlers keep saying, "Oh, the older sister, who is our protagonist, her name is Tomlinson, played by Anna Taylor-Joy from
Split. And she's going to be Magic in New Mutants.
That's what I wanted to bring up, was the New Mutants trailer. That was the news I wanted to talk about. But basically, they're like, "Oh, she's a witch." It's a classic. She's a witch. Except early on we see there is an actual witch in the woods that took the baby, mutilated it, and rubbed its baby guts all over her body to look young for a few days.
Yeah, that was fucking weird and insane.
Yeah. You don't usually see a woman smear baby all over her.
Nope.
In a movie. But basically, this witch takes down this family one by one, and it's a psychological horror because really they're taking down each other. Nobody trusts each other. Religion is very, very important, very part of the story. The relationship to God is a huge part of the story, and eventually the witch kills most of them. And all the last man standing is the daughter, and she basically signs a contract with the devil to become a witch. So even though she'd been denying the whole movie that she was a witch, because she wasn't, in the end she becomes one.
Yeah, it was the weirdest recruitment film I've ever seen. Also, by the way, I take issue with what you had said about the witch and the baby, because I guarantee you 90% of women have in their cabinets baby oil and rub it on themselves all the goddamn time.
Is baby oil made from babies? No wonder it's so expensive.
Just like olive oil is.
What? What is happening right now?
You squeeze an olive to get olive oil.
You
How do you
squeeze
get
a baby to get baby oil? So are there baby farms out there where they're just squeezing babies to get...
Matt, we already established you're not really into science.
Or farming.
Where's a baby farm? Oh, God. Corey, did I tell you about my farmersonly.com thing?
No.
Okay. Sidetrack here real quick. But
oh, Corey, did I tell you about that time I mutilated a baby and rubbed its guts all over me?
all right.
Actually, yes.
What?
That's what I thought you were going to say.
No, not at all. So I was talking to Jack. Are you familiar with the farmersonly.com?
Because you don't have to be lonely.
At farmersonly.com.
.com.
Oh, is it a dating website
It's
for
a
farmers?
dating website for farmers. So you've never seen the commercial?
And livestock.
No, we don't have farmers in New York.
Fair enough. Okay.
We have JD.
Okay. Yeah, we have that here. But so this guy walks into a bar. It sounds like a bad joke. And he just goes, "Where are all the country girls at?" And then the bartender hands him a phone and goes, "At farmersonly.com." And then he looks up and there's all these like mildly attractive girls that just saying, "You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com." So we were talking about this at work, and I'm like, God, do you have to like prove you're a farmer? Do you have to like say, well, I have this many cattle or this much corn, and I got this big of a tractor?
I got a cactus in the backyard. Does that count?
Well, and I'm like, I got a bunch of fucking land, so I'm gonna go sign up for FarmersOnly.com and see.
They were that picky with Joe Millionaire. It was like, oh yeah, he's a millionaire, but not really.
Yeah, not really. So I signed up, and then I did this all at work.
Hey, aren't you married?
I'm very married, and I told her, and she thought it was funny too. But I just wanted to see, like, you put in your zip code and your email address, and then you're signed up. And we went through like 20 pictures, and a lot of them were like chicks with their cows or horses, or just a horse. And I'm like, am I fucking the horse or what? And then I blocked all emails from FarmersOnly.com because they kept sending me email. It's like Farmer 867421212. You have new matches. I'm like, yeah.
That's such a weird dichotomy. The farmer with a serial number.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So back to the movie, I guess.
Which is horrible because the serial number, it's counted out by a horse going clump, clump, clump.
Jesus.
Clump.
How do you guys want to start this? Did you guys like this movie?
I did. I liked it when I saw it in the theater. I liked it when I watched it again. It's slow, but that's, it's slow with reason.
Yeah, with what you guys said, it's slow, and with the language barrier of they're speaking a form of English, but I'd have an easier time watching Malibu's Most Wanted and listening to Ebonics the whole way than whatever this is. It was a little bit of a slog.
And I'm glad you said some kind of English, because just to clarify, this is not Old English and it's not Middle English. Technically, that is modern English. It's just we've come a long way over a few hundred years. But that is much, much more decipherable than Middle English would be. Middle English might as well be Welsh. For all you linguist nerds out there. I love this movie. That's why I've been wanting to do it for a while now. For one thing, one of the biggest, if you listen to my podcast, one of the biggest things I look for is originality. What's something I haven't seen before? And I haven't seen a really well done period film that's pretty much a foreign language film. I disagree. I'm fine with slow movies. I love slow movies. There Will Be Blood. And, in terms of horror movies, a slow one off the top of my head would be, what was that one that was like shot as if it was made in the 80s? House of the Devil. For me, that's a very slow movie. Now watching it a second time, I was like, this is actually a pretty well-paced movie. I was like, it never is. I understand what you guys are saying about it being slow, but compared to other artsy slow films, I feel like it really had a momentum and it carried on that. It never really stayed in the same gear for too long.
No, absolutely. We did A Cure for Wellness last week, and that was a much slower and less of a payoff film. And a friend at work asked me if I had gone to see the new sequel to Blade Runner, and I'm not a fan of the first. I'm not a fan of the first Blade Runner, so I have no interest in seeing the second one. But then it's 2.5 hours, and I said I can't go to a movie theater. I can't. I can sit and pee for 2.5 hours, but I can't sit and not pee for 2.5 hours. So there's no way in shit that I'm going to see that goddamn movie in the theater, if ever.
Yeah. What I was going to say was, what was I going to say? I got distracted. I'm sorry. Oh, no. Not Cure for Wellness. What movie did you just mention? Not Blade Runner, not Cure for Wellness. You mentioned one other movie. Oh, no, you mentioned Blade Runner. Yeah. I thought Arrival was slow. And I loved Arrival. I thought Arrival was great. But I was sitting there in the theater like ugh. Whereas, and again, I didn't sit in the theater for The Witch, but I really did feel like every scene was moving the story forward in a way that there's slow and then there's slow. I guess it was like,
and an hour and a half really wasn't that bad.
Exactly. Like for me, a slow film, and it could be a good film, a slow artsy film would be like a roller coaster that's just flat, just going on a flat level. Whereas this one, it was always going up. It was taking its time getting to that peak, but it was always going up. I was watching it for a second time today. I was really impressed with the pacing. I think this happens a lot with movies in general, where you watch it for a first time and you go, it feels a lot longer, and then when you watch it a second time, you go, oh, this scene happens already. We're only 15 minutes in the movie, and this like not just slow movie, like even like a Captain America Civil War or something. Like, oh, we got to Ant-Man already. Oh, okay. I know it's like how when you drive somewhere and then on the way back, it's a lot fast. It feels like a lot faster. I feel like when you watch a movie a second time, scenes happen earlier than you remember.
Well, it's also it's a little dry in the fact that it's about 5 people, and they're animals. For the most part, it's taking place in a shack in some woods. It looked like it was the prequel to The Village, which itself is a turnoff, but it's nothing like that at all. Yeah, you're probably right. Is that I saw it as being slower than it was because of the unfamiliarity, and as it went along, it didn't take a long time to get to anything. And the scenes were very well acted. Even the youngest characters in this were very good.
I was surprised. I was like, where did they find these kids? Because they were doing such a good. First of all, they have to speak in this like English dialect, and then to just they got really lucky with the cast. Everybody was really good. I thought maybe the weakest one was the older son, and he was fine. The dad was incredible. The dad, I recognized him immediately. He is from the British Office. He plays the British original equivalent of David Koechner's character. Like the crude best friend of David Brent.
Yep, that would always show up and just like throw everything. It's like
exactly.
Every HR rule broken as soon as he walks in the door.
He was so good in this, and it was like such a fully fleshed out, like well-rounded character. Where he, God, I can't even say the term "fully fleshed out" now without Dan. Yeah. But like he was obviously a very, very religious guy, but he had a soft spot for his daughter, and he there was room. He had some wiggle room for his own rules. I thought the mother was the biggest problem for me because she was the most one-dimensional, but even that was kind of believable. I kept saying, like, when I was watching with Nick, I was like, God, why are they into all this fucking religious bullshit? And then he goes, well, what else are they going to do? They don't have TV. They don't have radio. You're going to pray all day. You're going to read the Bible.
And then when you get yourself ostracized for your people, and you have to go off and be on your own and everything, you have to cling to that religion even more. And you saw the breakdown of some of the resentment that she had for her husband for doing that to them, and how she didn't just want to go home to that, but she wanted to go home to England. She wanted to get away from everything. They did a very good job of each of the characters having faults and having an explanation as to the faults and stuff that they saw. When the father is accusing the daughter of, like, he's saying, I want to defend you, and he's trying to say, like, I want to do right by you, but at the same time, I've just seen all these things that make it seem like you're a witch. And then she points out, well, Dad, if you want to hear the truth, you have fucking led me up to fail multiple times. You've been getting me accused of lying and having me take the fall for the things that you've done. And you've just finally admitted these things now when it's already too late and I'm already being prejudged. And she's just fucking laying him out. And then she turns his mind around and says, by pointing out the truths and stuff of, your kids have been talking to this goat. Let's face it, that's fucked up in this religious household that you're all talking to do basically what is the devil, and you should have recognized it a long time ago. And it's just crazy how they do jump across. And it does, in talking about it, make it seem like it's less slow of a movie because that pacing goes very fast. None of the scenes take too long.
Exactly. It's great. Yeah. No, it's great to like that. It's not just a monster movie where the witch is in the woods and she's just picking them off one by one. It really is. It's a drama in a way.
Yeah, you barely see the witch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like the monster stuff is on one end, and then you have all of these interplays between all the characters. That's a lot more depth than you usually get from a monster movie.
Kind of sidetracked. Actually, very much sidetracked. Have either of you read Ready Player One?
Yes.
No.
Well, I listened to the audiobook read by Will Wheaton.
Yeah. I didn't read the book. I listened to the audiobook. But the guy who plays William, what's his fucking name? I lost it. Ralph Ineson is in Ready Player One, the movie.
Oh, really?
Which
That's
while you guys were talking, led me down a dark path. I'm upset that the guy playing Parzival and the chick playing Artemis are like both pretty, because in the book they're not made out to be that way.
Well, Artemis in the book is supposedly really beautiful, except she has this one birthmark. So like that's why
face. She's
not pretty, as if like a red splotch on a otherwise supermodel body doesn't make you pretty. I have a lot of problems with Ready Player One. I dig it, but I have a lot of problems with it.
See, I pretty much took it at face value. But Parzival's supposed to be like some kind of weird fat guy who plays video games. Am I right?
He's the main guy.
Yeah, Wade.
Was he fat?
I thought he was supposed to be a fat guy.
Oh yeah, he was, and he lost a lot of weight in the third act when he was like physically training or something.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Either way,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The Ready Player One is the exact opposite of The Witch, where
pretty much
where like the reason Ready Player One is so interesting is because it's really good world building and it's a cool idea for a story, and all the nostalgia plays into it perfectly. All of the characters are flat and terrible, and the writing is terrible. Whereas The Witch, a very, very basic story about a witch, but all the characters are fully realized. All 5 members of the family are compelling to watch. It's the exact opposite. Let's talk about the actual witch, because what I also love about the movie is it's so simple. It's called The Witch, and it's this artsy period film, but the witch is a straight up like cartoon Halloween mask witch. Like it's literally like an old crone who at one point turns to the camera and goes like it's literally like she had a big mole on her nose, and like it's like they were like, all right, let's take like the witch from all the plastic Halloween paper plates and like let's do a serious real movie about that witch, and not come up with like what if all vampires actually wore suits and were all businessmen. It was like that they weren't doing any postmodern take on the genre. It was straight up just a witch, and it was fucking scary as hell. Like I thought as like Corey said, we don't see the witch very often, but when we do, I thought it was fantastic.
I like that you don't really see her. I mean, it leaves more to the imagination.
Do you see the guise that she takes when she's basically seducing Caleb, or whatever the son's name is?
And
Caleb.
I don't think that was like she can just turn into that. I'm guessing rubbing the unbaptized baby's blood all over her temporarily made her young again.
Yeah. And it was a payoff for what you had been seeing earlier, where because they live out in the woods and they're the only people around there, Caleb was already having impure thoughts about his sister.
Yeah.
Because she was basically the only person close to being a peer for him that he could lust after. And when he goes to see this woman in the woods, she leans down and applies her chesticles at him, and and that just kind of adds to him succumbing to her, even though he knows that he's fucked. He's just screwed.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing in his shoes. I think it was great, and it reminded me of a lot of Game of Thrones connections. Again, Nick was telling me that the guy from The Office, the dad, is in the Game of Thrones. I didn't recognize him. He said he was one of the Ironborn, but the mother is I definitely recognize as can't remember her name, but she Robin of Arryn, she was the mother, and she used to breastfeed him, and he was like an 11-year-old boy, and she would just breastfeed him. And then
okay, so the one that Littlefinger was married to, and he goes there, and
and
gross.
She breast, and like in the first season, I think the first season, maybe the second, like one of the first times you see her, she's breastfeeding an 11-year-old boy, and in this movie, breastfeeding is a big part of her character as well. And I was just like, so like on her headshot, is it just like under abilities? Is there like skiing, kickboxing, breastfeeding?
I mean, that is quite the accomplishment. It's not something that I'm going to be able to do. So sure.
Because she's very close to the baby, obviously in the beginning, and she takes the loss of the baby very hard. And at near the very end, when she loses her mind, she's imagining the baby came back and she's breastfeeding the baby, and then they just do a smash cut, and you see it's literally like she's holding a raven that's just pecking at her nipple.
Yep.
I mean, talk about gruesome, like gory. and as gory and as gruesome as it is, none of it feels forced.
Well, also none of it feels really mystical. When you see the death of William, the father, from fighting the goat, you don't see the goat become supernatural.
No,
you don't see
rams him.
you don't see supernatural stuff in this much at all. At most, you see the belief of supernatural things. You see the two young children, they can't remember how to say their prayer, and they start doing the essentially the satanic chant, and then Caleb starts saying it too in his stupor, which gives it far more weight.
Yeah.
But they don't do any magic until the last scene of it, which is kind of very Paranormal Activity in a way, which is also like, hey, you've gotten through this whole movie without shit really happening that makes it seem like it's a scary film, other than the fact that you're just supposed to be scared. And then at the end, oh, here's the supernatural aspect that has been the underlying of it the whole time that you didn't know was there.
But it makes it so much better doing it that way. And it almost makes me wonder, as nice as it was to see those couple of witch scenes earlier in the film, if they didn't show the witch at all, if they just cut those maybe 60 seconds of screen time out, the entire movie would basically be, all right, is there something supernatural happening? Or maybe it is all in their heads. Or maybe the daughter is crazy.
Or maybe there's eels in the water. Oh, well, no, that's last week.
It could have, but it would have been a much more open-ended movie. And I was like debating in my head, like, is it better that they didn't make it open-ended? Is it better that they were pretty much upfront? Like, no, there's a monster going. It's like there's an actual witch. I mean, it doesn't take anything away from the fact that the family's turning on one another. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think it would have been better if they left it open-ended as to whether there was anything supernatural going on?
Well, even in that regard, at the end of the movie, you can kind of be left wondering if the title is about the witch in the woods or if it's about
the recruitment. Yeah, the recruitment of a new witch. She becomes the witch.
She's the witch. She's the one that keeps getting blamed to be the witch the whole time. Because it doesn't do a lot of things in such a solid way that you can't leave it up for interpretation or question. Especially with the two kids. The two kids and the fact that they are kind of instigating everything and are the ones who are really, it seems, possessed from the very beginning in the way that they act, but not in a way that you would question it just to look at them. They just seem like annoying little pissant kids that maybe they would have been called out again if they were in more of a society than they were in just a single home where it's like we all got to deal with our own shit and nobody else is really looking at the kids too hard because I'm busy taking care of the baby and these two are busy doing chores. And so these fuckers get to run around with a black death goat.
Right. And I was thinking, I was like, every time they would open their mouths, oh, they were so annoying. I was like, the dad puts up with such little bullshit. Like he wouldn't yell at them for the shit that comes out of their mouth. Oh, I was so mad we didn't get to see them die on screen.
Oh yeah,
Jesus!
I really wanted that cathartic murder of two toddlers.
Yep, and you get it with the mother, who I think just as much is her character is deserving of it in this. And as much as she also doesn't deserve it. You know, she's had so much heavy shit that she's gone through that's led her down this path. But you do want this moment of like, no, please kill that bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you have that. But you're right. The kids, we don't see that happen with them. And that's too bad.
And so it sounds like you are on the you're pretty firm that they definitely were communicating with the devil. Because I couldn't tell if that theory was also wrong, and then this was all coming from external, was all coming from the witch in the woods.
No, you're right. I couldn't tell you for certain, but it certainly felt authentic by the time we got around to that.
Yeah, like when
they're all locked up in the barn together, it just seemed like they were not freaking out to the degree that she was.
That's a good point. Yeah. So we've been dancing around it, but I like the whole reason we're talking about this movie, I think, is because of that last scene. We got to talk about Black Phillip.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you think of Black Phillip?
I think
like did it throw you for a loop when all of us because it was really well done. Basically, so what she did, they've been saying, all right, Black Phillip takes the form of a goat. Black Phillip is the devil. And when she finally, after all her family's dead, she's the last man standing. She goes and she talks to the goat. She goes into the barn and she talks to the goat. She goes, "Are you really the devil? or if you're the devil, please say something. Please say something. Help me, like, throw me a bone here. And they stay on her face like 20 seconds, and it's just like, oh man, she's just lost it. And then out of nowhere, suddenly you just hear this like ominous whisper of the voice of the devil. And it really, like, they waited just long enough where you're like, that goat's not the devil. And then suddenly the goat actually is the devil the whole time. This dumb looking, like, goats are so dumb looking. Like, they just look at the camera and they just look so stupid. They're like the Matt Steins of the animal kingdom.
Yep.
And,
dopey with huge dicks.
But so what did you think when the goat actually started talking?
I'm trying to think when I saw in the theater, like, what I thought. I don't recall being shocked.
That must have been great seeing with a crowd. That must have been cool seeing with an audience.
No,
There had to been.
I hate people, and I
There had to
really
have been a
think
collective gasp.
No. There was maybe 10 total people in this theater.
Oh.
Yeah, I drove to meet a buddy of mine. We touched tips halfway between where him and I live, and saw it in a very small town.
It was playing there.
What's up?
It wasn't a wide release.
I mean, it was. We have like the Marcus theaters, and I think it was playing in all those.
Oh, okay.
I don't recall being shocked. Like, I think I kind of expected that was the way it was going to go.
And it still could have been interpreted that she was crazy at that point. Yeah. The whole ending could be just something in her mind.
Right.
Which, yeah, if you want to look at it that way, but I don't think that the goat talking, regardless of if you want to see it as she was crazy or that's really what happened, depending on what way you want to look at it. But the goat talking didn't surprise me. Now, if you want to consider if she was crazy or the goat really talked, now that's a different conversation.
I'd like to say it's definitely open-ended, but I personally like to take it at face value. I like to think...
even when the goat is talking, or I think Caleb said something similar too, is they see a book in front of them that isn't physically there, and the book is some sort of thing about them making a pact with the devil. Yeah, so she doesn't know how to write her own name, so he's like, "I'll lead you through signing your name into it." You know,
I didn't even realize I know how to sign her own
one
name.
Pair of goat prints in the sand. That's where I carried you. But but yeah, there's so psychologically they have to see the book. The book isn't actually a physical thing either. So it's still all very much could be a mental thing.
It's a metaphor for selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
I think I know the answer to this, but and I wanted to look it up and I didn't. But the idea of signing the ledger and calling the devil Black Phillip, those are pre-existing things, right? This movie didn't come up with the idea of calling the devil Black Phillip, right?
No, I think Black Phillip is...
He's been around.
Yeah, to the internet.
Because when I hear Black Phillip, I think of Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Voice of the Shredder.
That's why they've had to go through a couple different ants on the show, because the first one got sold into witchcraft.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Black Phillip has a Twitter.
Of course he does.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's called @Real Donald Trump.
Oh, jeez.
@POTUS.
Don't.
Shots fired.
He's the devil. Ah. No, I wouldn't give him that much credit.
Maybe,
Devil was.
So I'm starting. Yeah.
So
real. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but everything is leading towards Black Phillip being from this movie. So it may be. Yeah, which is.
I don't believe you.
Well, unless I have a hard time believing that like a black goat. This is the first use of a black goat as the devil.
I mean, the goat. The idea of the devil being a goat is certainly
yeah. But has the name Black Phillip ever been associated with it?
I don't think so. Everything points as him being the bad guy in The Witch. Even his Twitter, the backgrounds from The Witch, his pictures from The Witch.
Yeah. The Hollywood Reporter's article, Black Phillip, the real story behind the breakout goat.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's...
Huh.
You'll see him in his new sequel, Mint Jelly. And...
I mean, let's be honest. Black Phillip is the greatest of all time.
It is one of those things that it works. The iconic...
It took me a second. I don't think Corey got it. Greatest of all time, goat. Black Phillip's a goat.
I didn't. Thank you.
On that note, I'm gonna go grab another Black Phillip.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, at least he didn't hate it. So if you're not watching this, you're unable to see that every time Jack gets up, he has to like ninja kick around his microphone.
It is quite gorgeous.
I expected Corey to say something, and he didn't.
Nope. I figured that you're gonna edit the
nope
pauses out. Oh, well, that's good.
I stopped doing that when it started cutting into what we were saying.
No, I meant physically you would do the work.
No. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you. What do you do other than look pretty?
I used to do a lot of the work for the show.
That's true. Then I took away your only job.
And I drove the bus. It was the other thing.
Now alcohol drives the bus.
I had to keep you on task. Yeah, that was too much job for any one person, I think.
We have to get a team of people.
I'm loving this new Williamsburg apartment.
Whatever.
I didn't get a Black Phillip. I'm going to try this Hopostle.
Oh, Hopostle. Okay, so about that is a brewery from Porter, Texas. That is actually in the backyard of my cousin's house.
Oh.
And it is an old church, as my cousin calls it. It's a snake handling church.
Baptist.
Yep. So they took out all the pews, and funny enough, I'm actually drinking out of a back pew glass right now.
Hey, cheers. And cheers to Corey and your dad's blue cream soda.
Blue cream soda, yeah. So to me, that what you're about to drink was way too hoppy of an IPA. That's why I sent it to you. I didn't care for it.
I gotta be honest. I don't know what a hop tastes like.
Tastes like marijuana. And I know you don't know what that tastes like.
Is that why like skunky beer smells like?
Yep.
Marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
If I use Arm & Hammer deodorant, and I stink throughout the day and I don't shower, for some reason it smells like marijuana, like skunk weed.
My wife,
but only if I use like certain deodorants like Arm & Hammer and Right Guard.
My wife had some stinky rabbits in her car, which rabbit piss smells like straight ammonia, and had driven through a dead skunk and got to work, and someone she worked with is like, do you smoke weed? She's like, no, I just drove through a dead skunk. And the guy's like, I wouldn't believe you had I not done the exact same thing.
A guy I worked with, it was a city job, so he didn't get fired, but he almost did. Got soaked in a rainstorm, and he put his weed in the microwave.
Oh, what?
It stunk up the entire establishment.
What's wrong with this guy?
Oh, he didn't give a fuck.
Oh, I just thought he was dumb.
No, he didn't give a fuck.
I don't even know where we are at this movie.
Maury, what was your take on Black Phillip?
Well, he looked tasty.
He looked delicious.
Yeah, no, he's a good villain for the movie because everything that goes around him, he literally had to do nothing to let it happen. Whatever he was doing behind the scenes, you never had to see. It all just came out in accusations later. And then the final bit at the end. So I thought it was just an ugly ass black goat.
Was this your first or second time or multiple time watching this movie?
Well, you guys
this
talked
is
about
my
this.
first time.
I'm going to go pee and get another beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is my first time seeing it. I've had it ready to go for a while. And as a matter of fact, when I tried to watch it from my system, it kept crashing my Roku. And it turns out that my wife had purchased it. Comcast, so I was able to just watch it on that, which is convenient.
Yeah, no, the reason I ask is because watching it for a second time, knowing the twist, I was like watching the goat the whole time, and like there's nothing obvious. It's not like Tyler Durden or anything, but you can interpret a lot of the things that he like when like there's a lot of cuts to Black Phillip that I didn't notice earlier on, where like they would just do a close up of Black Phillip when they would bring up the devil, and it was really interesting.
Yeah, now I desperately want to see a Tyler Durden version of Black Phillip where Ed Norton is sitting there and talking to a goat the whole time, and everybody that's around him was like, why does this motherfucker keep talking to a goat? Somebody,
one of your listeners that are not too shabby with Photoshop should definitely make that. Do a trailer mashup of The Witch and Fight Club.
Is that mutton on your shirt? Some of it.
The age-old question: do I give you the ass or the horns?
Matt's always going to give the ass.
Yeah. What other parts of the movie? We've covered pretty much all of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really is kind of a straightforward film. It's not that it's not got depth. It's just that the depth all pays off immediately at one time, and it does it correctly. As you were saying, it doesn't feel like any of it's forced or fake outs or anything. It's just the whole way along. We know that there's never a point in time where Thomason actually is the witch.
Right.
We don't buy into the accusations against her because they never do anything to try to lead us towards that. And then they don't at the end say, oh, but secretly the whole time she was the witch and you just didn't know it. It's like,
Thank God they did that. Thank God.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't to reference The Village again. It's not a Shyamalan thing of like, oh, it's a big twist. Yeah, it's not a big twist at the end. It's a payoff.
Right.
And that's a very different kind of movie.
Like if she had turned out to be the hero and just fought the goat to the death, that would have been fairly uninteresting. If she turned out to be the witch the whole time, like you said, that would be like a boring twist. I like that the twist / payoff was that she basically becomes a witch.
Yeah, like I said, it's a recruitment film. I expected to be all you could be in the Army Reserve of witches.
The few, the proud, the satanic witches.
The floating into the heavens.
And just in terms of some artistic technical merits, I thought the cinematography in this movie was fantastic. I looked up the cinematographer. He hasn't really done anything, he's got a lot of work under his belt, but nothing we ever heard of. And I thought the score was so good between the sharp strings and the like crazy 2001 opera, like women chanting. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a big part of the horror. The terror part of this movie came from the music.
Would you say it was terrible?
I would say it's terrible.
And I know I missed all of what you said, but overall, I really did think this was a good movie. I didn't expect it to be fast-paced, so it being slow, in my opinion, was not bad. It's just what I expected. Being a period piece, it was good. Like it's what I wanted in this movie. I didn't want supernatural, insane devil shit and a ton of gore. Because
it never pretended to be something different than what it was. It turned out to be, and what it is, it did a very good job of. But do you think that this is a movie that you turn to often? That you say, oh, I've got a hankering to watch The Witch.
Well, I don't normally watch movies a second time, and I did really want to cover this. I think it's a good Halloween movie. I think, not every Halloween, but I think if you're in a particular mood, this could be a very fun rewatch. I think it would be, turn all the lights out. It depends on your crowd, who you're watching it with. I think it's got some replayability.
I actually don't think I'd want to watch this with people.
Really? Not the you don't want to watch like a baby getting mutilated and like literally seeing chunks of baby flesh on a table.
Play it at Sunday school.
Yeah, just as that part's gonna play, you gotta slap the guy next to you and be like, "Ooh, I like this part."
I may have done that today.
Quick, reach into my popcorn.
I have a legitimate question. Could you see? From what I know, this was very much the vision of one guy, and he seems like a pretty stand-up fella. But could you see? If he happened to be a sellout or if he doesn't have a say in it, there being a line of straight-to-video sequels, Witch 2, Witch 3.
Yes.
Witch 2000.
Witch 2000. What would be Witch 2020?
I could totally see this. I feel like the mythology they've set up in this movie could lend itself to really crappy straight-to-video sequels.
Before The Witch? The prequel?
Before The Witch. Black Phillip Diaries.
The Anal Witch, the XXX parody.
It certainly seems as easy to jump from this to sequels as it would for any of the Insidious movies, and then the secondary movies of The Conjuring and stuff. Aaron bought the the Annabelle creation movie the other day, and she was watching it. And after the first
like
Annabelle was terrible, she loved the new one. She thought it was
it's
really
on my
cool.
list.
That's such a weighty title too. Annabelle creation.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Conjuring films.
Me neither.
So
I
far.
like
The second Conjuring was very good in my opinion.
I didn't see Conjuring. I like the Insidious movies.
But
Actually, I might have saw the Conjuring. I was watching a movie without sound. I forget where I was. It was like a barber shop or something, or like wherever I was, some kind of waiting room. And I was watching this movie with Night Owl from Watchmen, Patrick. Wilson.
Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, and I'm watching. I'm like, I've seen this movie before. And I was like, but it's not Insidious, but it is. And I was like, this isn't Insidious because it doesn't have the characters from Insidious. And then I realized at some point I had actually sat down and watched this movie, which was crazy because, it's weird when you watch a movie and you don't remember watching it. And like, I did that with one of the girls with the dragon tattoo sequels where I was like 2 hours into the movie. I was like, I've seen this before. But I don't know if that was an Insidious or a Conjuring. If it was a Conjuring, that's the only time I've seen a Conjuring.
It just depends on who his wife was played by.
Right?
He's in the first two Insidious movies, and then he's in the Conjuring films.
I think it was a Conjuring.
And they're from the same people. Yeah.
No, it was Insidious because I think it was about how like the two ghost hunters. It was a prequel. It was like how they meet the old lady. Never, but this is not interesting. I'm sorry.
No,
that's okay.
I'm thinking out loud here. But I came up with a title for the sequel to this movie. Back to Black Phillip.
Oh.
The
The witch sequel with all AC/DC soundtrack.
It's got to happen, guys.
And then at some point, Black Phillip is walking across the dusty road, and he gets hit by a semi truck that has the Green Goblin's face on it.
And then it just turns into Maximum Overdrive.
Right? Yeah. Don't steal our fucking soundtrack, you bastards.
Which, by the way, is streaming on HBO Go. Ooh. You guys haven't covered Maximum Overdrive on this podcast, have you?
No, it's one of the recommendations. Brandon Raymond recommended it probably right about the time that we started this podcast.
Do you want to secure your revisit as...
I'm obsessed with that movie. I mean, it's the only movie Stephen King ever directed. It opens up with an ATM killing somebody and then scrolling across in 8-bit digital. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Isn't it Stephen King?
Stephen King directed it.
But I mean, Stephen King is the one who's looking at the ATM and he's like, honey, this thing just called me an asshole.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And it's also one of the very few movies to have live action Yardley Smith, voice of Lisa Simpson, in it.
Yep. That and The Legend of Billie Jean.
Yeah.
He's not my lover.
Where we get to see her get her first period, which is an episode I'm just waiting for The Simpsons to do since.
Oh my God! Well, she's 8 years old, so the way with all the hormones we give our kids these days and antibiotics in their meat,
you just can't help it if you're around Bart, since Bart gets wet for him.
Lisa's first period, season 30.
Jesus, are you gonna get into about how Bart and Marge fucked and Marge got wet for Bart?
They didn't have sex, but she did get wet for him, and they did. They did imply they had just had sex.
So
I don't write these episodes.
I know. We're gonna sidetrack here for a bit because that's all I do. But I had seen that episode before you guys talked about it, and I never thought that they had just got done doing nut to butt stuff. And when you talked about it, it just made me so uncomfortable because I'm very much a face value type of person.
It's a Family Guy thing.
Yeah.
They do that with Stewie on Family Guy all the time. In any of the fantasy ones, like Stewie's the king, and he's got Marge is his wife or concubine or whatever, and then Peter comes in and breaks up the marriage. Not Marge,
Lois.
What is Lois? All the time on Family Guy they do that. So it seems so much like this is something that The Simpsons learn bad habits from the show that's been ripping them off for a number of years.
That's a good way to put it. I think they did learn some bad habits. You're not into Star Trek, are you, Matt? Right?
I mean, I watched a bunch of Next Generation when I was a kid, but
have you guys watched The Orville? I'm curious what you guys think.
No, how is it?
Corey, have you watched it?
The first 2 episodes didn't do a lot for me, but I hear so many people raving about it. And it definitely feels more like Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery did, which feels more like CSI in space.
I have a lot of friends on Facebook and such that whose opinions I take very seriously, and a lot of them are professional writers and work in the industry and are much more successful than me. And everybody is raving about the Orville. And I've watched every episode. I'm keeping up with it. I don't get it. I don't think it's good. It's fine. It's just so mediocre. And you're right in that it is more Star Trek. It's basically like a modern day Next Generation. But I don't understand the raving about it. I don't get it. It's so two dimensional. It feels like a UPN, like USA.
Yeah, that's what
it feels like Enterprise.
Yeah.
Growley's vouching for Orville as being a good light comedy space show, and we're shitting directly into his mouth.
Well, no, the problem is the comedy. Is that I don't think it knows how to handle when it's saying that it's a comedy sci-fi series. It doesn't know how to be funny with the stuff that it's doing. It's just random insertions of. It's like Family Guy humor of we're going to do these segues for these jokes that we have written that we just need to force into this hole in the plot here for no other reason than to have a cutaway.
And I love the idea of doing modern day workplace humor jokes in the Star Trek universe. I love that idea. Yeah. Most of the jokes they do are really like Family Guy, really like lazy fart jokes and booby jokes. And
are you saying there's something wrong with fart and booby jokes?
Well, not only that, I think that I can watch Family Guy and I think it has more jokes per minute that I laugh at than the Orville does. That's for sure.
Okay.
Right.
I think the Orville is maybe 1 in 5, 1 in 6 jokes. And I think Seth MacFarlane is a really funny actor. I think his delivery is very funny, and he usually gets the biggest laughs out of me on the Orville. And even those are few and far between. I like what they're doing. I just don't think they're doing a good job. That's nothing new to me. A show that should be good that isn't is nothing new. What interests me, and that's why I brought it up, is that a lot of people whose opinions I respect are raving about it. So I'm like, well, I've watched every episode. I like it. It's fine. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they're all wrong and I'm right. And there's a big chunk of it.
No, I completely agree with you. I think that tonally the comedy isn't connecting to the rest of the show, which is not to say that I don't think they could do something funny. I just don't know that the way that they write. Seth MacFarlane, I think, is, like you said, he is very funny, but I only see him succeeding at being funny in animation. And I've never seen him do anything live as himself that was really funny, like he is on the shows like American Dad or Family Guy or even Ted. I think that there's something that can be done that's more outlandish coming from an animated character that can't land as well with the humans in his writing. Whereas you see the South Park guys, Trey and Matt, when I saw Basketball, I laughed as hard at Basketball as I did at South Park the movie, and that movie fucking killed me. Yeah. So I think those guys can be funny in real life, and I just don't know that Seth's humor transfers well in that way. But he's a very talented guy, and I like him overall. When I see this, somebody said that it was a trick. It was a trick on Fox. It's like, we want to make a Star Trek show. They wouldn't let us do Star Trek, so we're going to pitch this thing like it's Family Guy in space, but then it's not.
I'm surprised they get away with it, because it is so much Star Trek. It is pretty much Next Generation without teleportation. Yep. And I don't like that, because I think the stories so far haven't been bad. They would have easily have been Next Generation plots. So I think the weakest part is the humor and not the Star Trek part. But I really like, if they're actually going to do good at that and do well at that and be a good space show, I'm very happy. I would love that. But then if they're going to do that, I would really like it to stand apart from Star Trek. I would love to be a little bit different. There's one episode I haven't watched yet. I'm like 15 minutes into it. And it starts off like a Black Mirror episode where it's like a society that where downvoting, like they vote by downvoting. And it's like, what if Reddit ruled the world? And it's like that Black Mirror with the 5 stars. And if they do more shit like that, where it's like, all right, maybe they're doing like, why don't they focus more on the planets and the societies and do more kind of Elseworld and how the Orville Earth straight man relates to that? That could be interesting. I hope they find their voice. I would love if they did something different from Star. I don't need watered down Star Trek. I don't need it.
Well, remember the first season or so of Star Trek Next Generation wasn't strong. It took some time to really warm up. Second is, if it's a con job, it's a beautiful way of doing a con job, because one, the show's being considered very successful, so it's very likely it's going to be renewed.
Exactly the same as Star Trek. I'm surprised they get away with it.
But that's the thing, is like right now we don't have a Star Trek.
Yeah.
We have Star Trek Discovery, which isn't even on regular TV, and between Paramount and CBS fought so hard to not let it even fucking happen. And the Star Trek movies became action films as opposed to Star Trek films up until the third one. I think the third one's actually okay. But yeah, so there's a hole that could be filled with this.
Is your dad a Star Trek fan?
My stepfather, not that I'm aware of, no.
Oh, good, because they do say the F word on the new Discovery.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Say the F word.
So Discovery really is not on TV. It has to be streamed?
Played the first episode, the pilot, essentially on regular TV, and then you had to go get the CBS All Access.
I paid $60. I paid it up front for a year's subscription. It was cheaper, and I went in with a Star Trek fan from work. And so basically I paid $30 to watch this.
You should have just asked, because the guy at work is like, "Oh, my wife wants to watch it, but I don't want to pay for it," and I just downloaded it.
I can't. They turned off my internet, and my girlfriend was very upset. I got caught torrenting, and I can never do it ever.
Really?
They turned off my internet, and they wouldn't turn it back on unless I paid like a ridiculous fine.
Oh wow! I had gotten a lot of threatening emails.
It was Rick and Morty that I was downloading, and I could have gotten that for free. I didn't realize Adult Swim streams it.
Jack, just talk to your boy. I
No,
got
it's
you.
too late.
I got you, boo. Well, now it doesn't matter, but yeah.
It pisses me off that the 4 strikes I got were, the first strike was Deadpool, which I hated, so like that shouldn't even count. The second strike was Interstellar, which isn't fair because that movie came out like 4 years ago. Let me just download the fucking movie.
Right.
The third strike was Rick and Morty, which again, like, it makes no sense because I could have just watched it for free anyway. The fourth strike was Rick and Morty again, but they gave it to me I downloaded it before I had gotten the third notice. So that's not fair. I stopped after that third notice. I really did. And they just turned off the internet one day. It was crazy.
I don't think.
And it's in my girlfriend's name, and she was not happy.
Yeah. She'll get over it.
Yeah, no, she will. She has no choice.
Well, exactly. It's like there are worse things that could have happened. It's like someone assassinated her.
But yeah, no, I deleted my LimeWire. I'm no more BitTorrent.
Wait, you still used a LimeWire?
Yeah.
Are you?
No, I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't. Wait, did I use LimeWire? What did I?
I think we've had the problem.
I don't know. I didn't delete it. Hold on 1 second.
I thought you just said you did.
It's been open this whole time.
Shh. I forget what I used. I think I used LimeWire. That doesn't sound right.
I used
LimeWire is like 15 years ago, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, why the fuck are you using LimeWire?
I can't remember how I. Because I haven't done it in like 2 months now. I can't remember how I download a thingamabob.
Hypothetically, smoke marijuana.
I don't remember how I did it. Well, I don't think it was LimeWire. It was something.
It's probably not something that we should be pitching out to listeners, anyways.
Yeah. Well, don't use it.
Well, yeah. I mean, even if you do decide to use it, kids, it's apparently not worked out so well for the people who do. So.
Although this is the first time I've heard a bad time of all of the people that I know that may or may not have ever done.
I've never heard of anybody have their internet turned off because
exactly.
like I told people, I was like, I got a notice, and I freaked out the first couple of times. They're like, oh, please, I get like 50 of those notices. Like, okay, I'll keep doing it. And like, I was very good about turning it off as soon as I would never upload.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know why they singled me out.
No, I got a friend who got the DCMA notice years ago from probably original Napster or whatever. And it was the fact that it was on his grandmother's internet that he wound up paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the stuff that he downloaded. I remember him sectioning off money from each check, just like, I've got to pay him off. Yeah. And then we sent him a fake notice one time in his email.
Hey, Jack, you have something you need to pay attention. I don't even fucking know. I'm pretty drunk.
No. Right.
Growly in our chat is concerned because you hated Deadpool. He's not going to watch this anymore because how can you hate Deadpool but like Family Guy?
I don't like Family Guy. I think I think Family Guy is watchable. I don't think it's very funny. I think Deadpool is watchable. I don't think it's very funny. My biggest problem with it is Ryan Reynolds is too wink winky, and I know that's ridiculous because the whole nature of Deadpool as a character is wink winky. But the type of wink winky that Ryan Reynolds, I don't like Ryan Reynolds.
It's Ryan Reynolds humor across the board. It's not like he adjusted it to play Deadpool. It's the same character that he's played back in Blade Trinity, and he played in what was the college one, Van Wilder.
I just don't like it. I love the character.
Deadpool. Pizza Place, Ryan Reynolds is the same thing, and I don't have a problem with it because I think he's funny. But the same sort of thing, I think he's naturally funny. Does it always work? It depends on the role. It depends on the film.
He can be very funny. It's just trying way too hard and just a lot of I think it's very like Family Guy. I think a lot of the jokes it's just like poorly executed. There's lots in Deadpool I like. I
think you need to be less like constructive film guy-y with movies.
It's not about. I'm not. I was very high when I watched that movie. I was not criticizing it constructively.
Hypothetically.
I just wanted to enjoy myself and laugh, and I didn't.
I thought that movie was fucking. I thought it was funny. Funny enough that I bought it on 4K, and I don't even have a 4K player or TV.
Nah, I couldn't get into it.
No, I like Deadpool quite a bit, but I absolutely see where you're coming from on it.
I like the Kick-Ass movies, and I know I'm in the minority on that.
I like the first Kick-Ass movie. I kind of despise the second one.
I know a lot of people not a fan of the second one. I like the second one. Again, I don't know. I saw it once. I was very high. And it plays very well to like that inner just would love to be a superhero in real life, like that fantasy.
Yeah, that part I get. But I also think seeing Mark Miller get all the success when you know that 90% of the stuff he does is ripped off, including exact lines or rip-offs from other better properties, and they're not getting their due. Like the let's see if she likes what Evil Dick tastes like is straight out of Preacher, and Preacher hadn't even had its show yet at that point. It pissed me off so bad because he throws in comic book quotes in comic books, and I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah, no, I'm not a Miller fan. I happen to like those movies.
Wanted was a great movie. Kingsman was a great movie. They're based off of Miller properties, so it's one of those things. I resign myself to the fact that he can make, with other people doing his stuff, good stuff.
So you talked about Evil Dick, and I just want to throw this in here because I feel like this was the lowest point for a band. But there's a metal band called Emmure. They had a song called R2 Deep Throat, and at one point the song stops and the vocalist goes, "Ask your girl what my dick tastes like."
Good for him. That reminds me of
not good for him. That's bad. It's bad, Jack.
That's funny. That reminds me of the guy that did my tattoo I went to high school with. He was in a hardcore band. Ooh. And I remember he was telling me about how one time in the middle of the show, they all did that thing where you put you put the circle with your fingers under thing. So everybody in the band just did that. So literally everybody in the audience saw them with their finger. And if you see somebody do this, they have to punch you in the balls. You know, it's a very juvenile high school thing. So because they did it on stage, they all stopped the song and put their instruments down and got into the crowd and punched everybody. And I was just like, you know what? At a certain point, that just like elevates it into performance art. God bless them.
Yeah, that's a horrible abuse of power, but also wonderful at the same time.
That's fucked up.
So The Witch. That's all I have to say about The Witch and the Orville and Deadpool.
I guess we can rate it. That's what we do next, right?
It's how the show has gone before.
What day of the week is it?
Today is a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss work because of this.
I can't work my. I was going to ask Alexa how my Giants did today, and I can't because my internet is so bad that Alexa can't even respond.
The New York Giants, the football team?
No, the lacrosse
The
team.
lacrosse team. Okay, so the lacrosse team.
If you were talking about the San Francisco Giants, I was going to say Alexa's just saving you from yourself.
The Giants are playing right now, aren't they? Yeah, they have the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I'll give you an update.
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter, Jack, because I care about you. I'm loading NFL Mobile.
Oh no!
We speak to you from a place of love.
Texted me that Christopher McDonald from Happy Gilmore got arrested for a DUI.
Did you really?
Oh, I love Christopher McDonald.
The Giants are on a bye this week, Jack. Oh boy, the Steelers and the Lions are playing right now at 3-3 in the second quarter.
What was that?
What was what?
That
was me. That was me sucking spit into my mouth because I'm drooling because I'm drunk. All right, let's rate this. So because I'm lazy, we just went to a strict 0 to 5 scale.
The original scale.
Yeah, the original scale. I stopped trying to hump the wee thigh, and we just went straight to a 0 to 5 instead of like.
So no 0.5s is what you're saying?
You
No.
can do 0.5s.
Yeah, we just used to do it on like a three tier thingy, and.
Oh right. If anybody's listening and wants, if you're a hardcore Podcast of Terror fan, and you decide to
Which is no one.
your ranking system off of these guys, best advice I can give you is do a 0.25 scale because we're really regretting not having have done it from the get go.
We had a 0.3 last week.
Oh, nice, good.
So
we don't.
You can do quarters. Well, let's do quarters.
But at least on our show, we don't want to change the scale because then it'll retroactively mess up all our rankings.
Right. With us, the numbers don't matter, but you guys have been very meticulous with your scaling.
We have been. Meticulous is an interesting word. We have been, but we also don't give a shit because it's all pointless.
Well, I also see you change your score after you've given it.
Yeah, that too.
Every time I change my score, after Corey says something, a friend of mine texts me and says, "You just pulled a jack."
Pulled a jack can mean many things.
Well, I didn't get jacked. I just pulled a jack.
So you guys don't break it down into categories anymore?
No, I got really lazy.
Playability and terror and
yeah. So when we took a break, I kind of decided, and I hope Corey agreed. Corey's just so fucking nice that he never tells me no. But it's like everything that made the show sucky to me is what we pulled out. So like the tedious work, like trying to justify saying FAP as a movie a description. I just said fuck.
It was always hard to explain what the categories were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like our hippo scale makes no sense. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I basically just kind of had like a come to Jesus with Corey, and I said, if we want to keep doing this, which we do, we really enjoy doing this. I said, then everything that makes me not want to do it needs to go bye-bye.
Huh? Maybe for me and Dan to continue worst episode ever, we have to ditch the rankings, which is the whole point of the podcast. But
not necessarily, because
well,
the whole point of your podcast
it was the entire central premise of when Dan pitched it to me. I've always, I think you can tell from listening, I've always had zero interest in the actual rankings.
Well, I don't disagree with that at all, but the premise is just saying which one. No, I guess the rankings kind of what it boils down to is the rankings.
So basically, you want me to give The Witch just a score from 1 to 5,
0 to 5, but yeah,
like 0 to 5.
So like a 0 to 5, like a movie, basically like a movie review.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
I will give it a 4.3. 4.3.
Okay, of course you do. I guess we're on a tenth scale.
Is 4.5 too high?
No. I can't give this movie a 5. I'm skipping Corey. Normally he gets to go next, but I can't give it a 5 because this is not a perfect movie. But
fuck it, I'll give it a 4.5.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to. I don't want to tell you what.
It's for everything it does very well.
I agree. Corey, you go.
I'm gonna go 3.75. I can't go as high as a 4 because I didn't. It's not for me a movie that I'm going to want to watch a bunch of times, but at the same time, I have to acknowledge the quality of it. And I think it probably would have been a lot lower to start. And Jack's insights helped raise my score quite a bit.
Thank you, Corey.
Corey, you got jacked.
I did.
Jacked.
I'm going to give it a 4.25, mostly because we decided that we're going to start doing quarters and any fucking number anyone says. It's a really good
I
movie.
think that's a fair. So what's the average?
Really fucking good movie. Oh, god damn it. Let me get out a kill.
You don't have an algorithm? We paid a guy in India to make an algorithm.
Yeah, no. I can't. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Plus 3.
Matt doesn't believe in science.
Yeah.
I won't say anything.
3.01466 repeating, of course.
So
No, that's not possible. How is that? That's not possible.
That doesn't make sense. I was never good at math, but I wasn't that bad.
4.16666666666666.
Oh, that's good, but it's 0.66666. That's relevant because the witch and the devil and Black Phillip and also Happy Halloween. Right?
That's
the
true.
devil. Blah.
Oh man, I should change the intro music to fucking shout at the devil.
I remember the very first time I watched The Omen and they brought up the 666 thing. I went right to my King James Bible and I looked up the 666 thing. I was so fascinated by it.
So do you still own a Bible, even though you hate our Lord and Savior?
Yeah, I have a Catholic Bible actually, even though I'm not Catholic, because it has an extra 7 books.
Funny story. I went to a Lutheran high school, so I had theology class, and I think I still have my high school Bible. But if you open up the cover, I just have like Slayer drawn in it. Like a bunch of death metal bands.
I got in a lot of trouble. My my Moravian Bible. I was raised Moravian. I doodled the shit out of that fucking Bible, and I got in a lot of trouble. No, my Catholic Bible is very nice. I actually won the religion award every year in high school. I was, to me, religion was like a history class, and it's just like those are my favorite types of subjects. So I was fascinated. I still have all my religious textbooks, like the history of, like all the bullshit people who wrote the Bible and all that shit. I find religion very fascinating, even though I don't believe in God.
So, yeah, and this is kind of off topic, but we're done for the most part. So if someone wants to tune out, you can just go ahead and stop right here. But I
don't know. I might talk about the Orville for another 45 minutes.
Growly he'll still hang out, so we're good. We have at least one person.
I'm not an atheist. I'm an agnostic. I just
which is to each their own, man. To each their own.
Low odds.
All I ever say is someone who doesn't believe the same thing as me is like, just respect what I respect. I respect what you respect, regardless of
I respect it. I think you're just stupid.
Thanks, Jack. I'm so glad that we have you here.
But it is Jack's nature to not respect anybody.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
Jack,
no. I grew up in a very I have a lot of respect for religion. I got to go back to my old church. My mom was married in it a few weeks ago, and it was nice being back there.
Yeah, and it's like
I was lucky too. I was raised Moravian. I think out of most religions, it's one of the fairest.
You were raised what?
Moravian.
It's
a pre-Protestant religion. It was founded by John Huss 100 years before Martin Luther broke away from the church. But
I really liked John Huss when he was on Entertainment Tonight.
But because the printing press hadn't been invented yet, basically they burned him at the stake, and that was that. And
there's like 3 Moravian churches in the country, and they're all by you. Oh, never mind. Yeah. Never mind. This is a picture of the state of Wisconsin.
You dummy. No, it's an evangelical religion. So even though it started out in Moravia in Germany, it's mostly in the Caribbean now because basically the tried and true you're not supposed to be a Moravian and go to church every Sunday. You're supposed to go and do missionary work. So there's a bunch of like rich white people who are Moravians, and then 99% of Moravians now are like Caribbean natives, African natives. But they were always very liberal. It was nice. It was a nice, like, any Christian could come and receive communion. Didn't matter what denomination. Like I was lucky in terms of it was a pretty wide berth they gave us, and I was really lucky with my Pastor Kay. She died of cancer after a remission because there's no God and all her praying was for nothing.
Come on.
But she was a sweetheart, and it was that's what it comes down to. It's just it comes down to a strong community and strong leadership and strong morals, and I got really lucky in that respect.
Moravian Church, church emblem, it features a white lamb.
Yeah, hold on, I have it on my
Not too far away from a
black goat.
black goat, right?
This is very faded, but this is the Moravian seal.
So you still carry the Moravian seal on your keys?
I'm full of fucking surprises, huh?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Hey, man, whatever. I could be 100% wrong.
I keep God very close in my heart.
So
off chance he exists. I just don't believe there's a guy with a beard. That's all.
Fair enough. I could be 100% wrong in my belief.
You are.
But
no, you are.
Well, no, in the whatever. Fuck you. But I'm just saying, like, this is what I believe. This is what makes me feel tingly at night.
Oh no, I get it.
Do you though? I don't feel like you do.
I'm open to the idea. I'm 100% convinced. I have no idea what the hell's going on. Hopefully there's not some cold nothingness when we die. I don't know which way I'm leaning towards. I'm hoping there is something there. I'm pretty sure pretty much everything that's told us to us in religion is all man-made bullshit. But I'm hoping there's some kind of thing out there. Some kind of opposite of Black Phillip. That's the best I can put it.
White Peter?
Yeah. White Peter.
Yeah, it's just a white Shih Tzu.
Well, what's the opposite? What's Phillips's kaopectate? Is that their big rival? So like a white kaopectate. No, that's the point, Matt.
Feel the power of God run through you.
No, I'm not. I play up the atheism for the podcast because it's really fucking funny. I consider myself a knee-deep agnostic.
Fine.
That's all you're gonna get from me. I got the lamb on my keychain. What more do you want from me?
Corey, can you start the outro so we can fucking go home?
Yeah, if you want to find God, probably not going to look here, but you could also contact us by leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966. You can email us at pot@gncast.com. All views of Jack Picone are his own and have nothing to do
Fuck
with
Donald Trump. There is no God.
All right, I'll agree with those.
I'm going to start muting you.
Deadpool sucked.
You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. We're at Podcast of Terror in all those places. You know where to find podcasts. You go, you find your podcatcher of choice, and you look it up there. If you didn't do that, I really wonder, is it just communicating in your head? Do you have do you need aluminum foil as a hat or something? Do you have bad fillings? It's hard to say, but we're glad you're here. We like that you listen. We hope that you keep listening. Subscription options for the network overall can be found at gncast.com/subscribe. And you can join our Facebook page. We are Podcast of Terror on there. The Galactic Network also has a Facebook page. Jack, where can people find you? I mean, obviously in church.
Yeah, of course. WePodcast.com, WEEPodcast.com. You can also search in most podcast apps. You can search for a network name. It's called We Studios. That's WEE, worst episode ever. Studios. Check out 90s Percentile. Check out our Simpsons podcast, worst episode ever. Check out our commentary series, Sync Points. More stuff on the horizon. I'm hoping to do a collaboration with these two fine gentlemen in the very near future.
We've been saying that for like 2 years.
Right? He's gone through quite a bit in that 2 years.
Actually, I wanted to talk to you guys about this before, but I've just been I thought I was supposed to move like 5 days ago. I thought I was going to be in a good place tonight, and I'm not. I'm like literally like a day out of moving, and I'm all discombobulated. And we were supposed to have an off-air conversation about this, and I wanted to ask if you wanted to make the announcement on air. But I do plan on figuring out. I would love to record our joint podcast miniseries in the near future, perhaps for an early 2018 release. I don't know if you guys want to go into details about that, but
should we just announce it as we decide it right now?
If we announce it, even though there's a good chance we'll just fuck it up and it won't happen.
No, dude, you tell me.
We've been fucking this up for 2 years.
I didn't say it. He said it. So if you want Corey
this is the first time I don't have two other weekly podcasts I have to worry about.
And honestly, I'm down to one. Corey's the only one with more than one. So if you give me a fucking date, I'll be there.
All right. Well, me and these two fine gentlemen are going to do a mini series podcast We'll record it hopefully in the next few months and release it shortly after. And it will be called the Gremlins 3 podcast. And we will, over the course of 8 to 12 episodes, lay out an entire outline.
Are we just going to spend one entire day discussing what may or may not be Gremlins 3? And
we will spend more time thinking about Gremlins 3 than what was thought about of Gremlins 2.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then we'll just cut it up into hour-long episodes?
Again, this was an off-air conversation we didn't get to have. I have an outline.
Oh,
okay. I have a structure in place.
All right. Well,
it wouldn't be done in one day. It would be done in a few days.
I would imagine that there's going to have to be a sobering after a couple hours.
No, there will not be a sobering period. There will just be a repickling period. I can't even. I'm so drunk I can't move a coaster right now.
The hair of the gremlin.
The hair of the gremlin.
That's the subtitle.
That's
actually episode 3. What's the subtitle?
I thought it was Gremlins 3: Gremlins in Outer Space in Nazi Germany.
No, that's a terrible subtitle.
I'm not a fucking filmmaker. I'm just a drummer.
That's going to be the show. We're going to hash this out. We're going to figure it out.
Okay.
Look, he doesn't believe in the science of subtitles.
Oh my God. Ooh, I don't know what just happened. I hope this isn't internal bleeding.
Jack's dying. On air.
Jack's
dying.
I literally I've gained a lot of weight in the last couple of weeks. And I just
can't tell. You look as beautiful as ever.
No, I'm fat. And I rested on my belly and it hurt. And I just looked and the whole left of my beer gut is just all black and blue. And I can't tell if it's internal bleeding because it's so sudden, or I've been literally moving. My room is just all boxes right now. And I can't move one box without having to move all of the other boxes. So it's been a horrible laborious. You ever play the Rush Hour game, the Rush Hour app?
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite puzzles. So basically that's what I've been doing for the last 3 days. Every time I need to move one box, I have to move every box to get to that box. And I've been bumping a lot of, I've been bumping into shit. So I hope I just bumped into my belly an hour ago and just noticed now. But otherwise, my belly is quickly turning brown and red. Eek.
Are you dying?
Yeah. I hope so. I mean, I hope not.
Please don't die. We like you here.
Yeah, I follow your Instagram. You don't look fat at all, by the way.
I know it was. I agree. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then
no, he doesn't agree. He just said he was fat. Now he agrees. You're you're worse than a woman.
I turned the webcam on for the podcast of terror, and I was like, "Holy shit! Look at how swollen I look. Look at this."
But you don't.
Look at this.
Here it comes. Goodbye, horses.
Goodbye, horses.
Look at that.
I'm so glad this is still in the episode.
Me too.
You like my Halloween costume?
your rabbit ears.
Yeah.
I figured that was just because you couldn't get a Wi-Fi signal.
Nice. I threw out the rest of my costume. I was Fuzzy Bunny from The Simpsons.
So Jack sends me a picture of him wearing rabbit ears and no shirt one day.
Oh, I Instagrammed that shit.
Oh, I didn't see that. I just saw the picture you sent directly to me, and I masturbated feverishly.
And if you want to get on that mailing list, go to We Studios.
Yeah, I actually, if you follow We Studios, I wanted to put all our Halloween costumes up, and I put up a very basic link. I didn't go into the whole thing yet. I've just been so preoccupied. But I'm hosting Simpsons Trivia.
God damn it! I wish you would do it here. Sorry.
Hosting for the very first time. I'm very nervous about it, but Dan does it every month, and the costume contest is easily the highlight of the year. The Simpsons costumes they come up with are always incredible. So this was part of mine.
Didn't you win?
I came in second this year. I came in first last year.
How many people sign up?
30.
So second place is nothing to shake his
No, it was nice. I feel bad. I wasn't expecting them to win at all. I feel like because I'm so close to the judges, to both Dans, that I shouldn't be eligible. But they, I guess, maybe rightfully so, because I put $80 into my costumes and I put a lot of work into it. They feel the need to reward me, and it's a very nice feeling. But I don't need it. It's all superficial bullshit. It's a nice feeling though.
It's superficial bullshit that I need to quantify my existence.
It's like an Oscar. If I want, it's like an Oscar. Oscars is such bullshit. But if I want an Oscar, I would rub it in everybody's face. I'd be like, look at this Oscar. Everything I did was worth it.
Hi, I'm Jack Picone. This is my Oscar.
That's why we ask for reviews on iTunes.
Exactly.
Which we never get.
I wrote you one. It was nice.
It was very nice.
All right. I better get going because I gotta take a Uber back
Oh,
home.
fuck yeah. It's like 9:30 there. All right, Corey, where can people find you?
Go to donutscomics.com. That's where the comics I'll publish for Levi Krauss are at.
Terrific. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Untapped, because I like to drink, at Matt the Lifeguard. That's going to do it for this episode. Next week, we're going to be talking about Young Frankenstein with Mike Beach.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Well, just come hang out. Mike Beach is co-owner of Hate Brand Goods, Habit Coffee. I don't know, the motherfucker likes to throw things over.
That's great.
over
That's a
poles.
great movie to do. Good for you guys. And by the way, I know it's been a few weeks, but since I haven't been on, I just wanted to say it's so great to have you guys back on the regular. We missed podcast world missed you during your hiatus.
Yeah, my Mondays are a little empty without my 90s percentile, but I think I'm going to go back to the beginning and start re-listening to them once a week.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Will not be doing that because I have other things to do, like I don't know.
Right.
Peace.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're re-listening to them and you've heard them before, maybe you can get away with some 2x, some 1.5x.
That's true.
Maybe.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the podcast here. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Stay scared, everybody.
Jack, say something funny.